Here I am. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Frank Ireland Show, the new interpretation of it, I guess. Tonight we have a special guest. He's not here yet. We're waiting on him just a little bit. But just to let you guys know, I did see the new Transformers movie. I thought it was very fun. And I'm glad Murderous Prime is back. That was hilarious. I love that. I kind of wish that Murderous Prime one day becomes a character on Mortal Kombat so he can get all those kills in. There's a wonderful moment in this new movie, and spoilers, who cares because it's Transformers. But one of the best moments in the latest Transformers movie is when so like the bad guy and Optimus are like facing down on each other, right? And Optimus is like, I'm gonna rip your fucking head out with your spine. It's great. And then later in the movie they're fighting and he actually does it. So the bad guy, like, they're fighting next to a volcano, so the bad guy is missing his arms, and then Optimus rips off his head with the spine, and it is just the best thing I've ever seen in a motion picture. And I see my guest is here, so let me do his little introduction. Joel Walden is an award-winning trailer editor for film and television, currently working full-time at Mark Wolin and Associates in Santa Monica. He's worked on projects for numerous clients, including A24, Netflix, Fox Searchlight, Focus Features, Amazon Studios, and HBO. And you guys might know him because, like, years ago, he did these amazing videos called The Works, or The Woiks, as I like to call it. But it was wonderful. His work has inspired me over the years. Definitely that Superman 35th anniversary trailer and all that. But without further ado, here's my special guest, Joel Walden.
Hello. What's up, Frank?
Hello, Joel. Oh my God. This
Yeah.
is like our first time ever talking. And
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, like, because you were talking, I thought you knew my work later on, but you were like talking about like, oh yeah, I was watching your stuff like back in the early days. I was like, damn.
Yeah. Back when I was in college, like sort of huddled over my laptop, with Final Cut, just making Edgar Wright mashups and stuff. I was watching all that back then.
Yeah. Because back then there wasn't that much online, because that's how I found my friend Phil, because I would just look up mashups. And there was like only a few people. And I know you were definitely one of them, because I remember watching your videos back then. I actually watched a few today. I was like, just to refresh myself, because back then you really made those cool videos. And what I like about it, I don't know if this was your goal or not, but I like how they were like 3.5 minutes. I don't know if that was your goal, to like keep it short.
I kind of like keeping it like it's almost like a trailer mentality, keeping it that length, and keep things tight and moving. Because I'd see there were a lot of other really great director tributes back then, but there were so many that were like 7 or 8 minutes. Like, oh, where was that? There's like the one guy who I always really loved was that Behringer. Do you remember him? Behringer 82.
Probably, because I watched so many of them back then. There were so many good ones.
Yeah, he was kind of like one of the first to do it, and his were like 7 or 8 minutes. But they were just really wonderful. Sometimes I go back and watch those, and they're great. Like, I think he did that. This could be someone else. There was like a Kubrick versus Scorsese video where it's like he matches up Kubrick and Scorsese at the same time, and it kind of went back and forth. It was really sick. I don't know if he made any others, but that was. Or there was like a Coen Brothers times someone else, I can't remember. But
oh my God, I think I remember that. Yeah, because those were like early days. Oh my God.
Yeah, those are the big inspirations back then.
Yeah. So like, what got you into editing? Because I think people know how I got into editing, but how did you get into editing?
Well, I mean, I always loved trailers and movies growing up, and weirdly, it was like 2008ish. I think I first started like being like, oh, these. I was started discovering this whole sect online on YouTube of people just making these fan trailers. Like I remember there was like. I can't remember the name of the site, but someone made like a contest to see who could make like the best Watchmen trailer on some forum somewhere.
Yeah.
And I remember it was that first Watchmen trailer, the first one, the 2008.
Yes, iconic trailer.
Yeah, that was the one that made me want to try it.
Yes.
And, I just kind of started playing with Windows Movie Maker and throwing stuff around, and then I started throwing it up on YouTube, and I just kind of kept doing it. And then I went to film school about a year later and just kept doing it, and then eventually they got traction. And yeah.
That's cool, because like that's almost like the same trajectory that we both had. Because back then, like, I was watching mashups, and of course it was so funny when I went to film school. I think we had like a little editing class, and we had to do one of the assignments was a mashup, and like this one mashup had been overshared so many times. I think they showed two of them. One was The Shining as a romantic comedy,
classic,
and then everyone was like, "Must Love Jaws," and like we've all seen Must Love Jaws.
I haven't thought about Must Love Jaws in a long time, but yeah, no, that Shining one was another huge inspiration. We were sharing it around. Constantly back then, and kind of like I still think it's one of the pinnacles of sort of like the whole sort of misleading trailer thing. Because I remember I tried to make similar ones back then. Like I think I tried to make like a Clockwork Orange trailer that made it look like a inspirational.
I think I remember.
I think I took it down. I think I got copyright strike or something. But it was like I want to try to make it look like it's like an inspirational Oscar movie, like a Slumdog Millionaire or something. I don't know. It was something like that. But that was like 18 years old, Joel.
Because like back then, like I had a different mindset back then, because like even now it's like there's some things I want to go back to, like, or try coming back, but it's just like it's like a different mindset. So I wonder if you had like, does that happen with you, like you had a different mindset back then and like more ideas or what?
Oh, I mean, well, right now I don't watch my old stuff that often, but whenever I have gone back and looked at it, I definitely would edit things a million different ways. I cringe at some of my song choices back then. And there's like, oh, you're holding on this too long, and like this could be so much faster, or I definitely think a lot different than I did back then. That's what time does.
Because I remember, I think I was a little critical back then. I don't know if I took down the comment, because I felt guilty after. It's like, my God, it's Joel. Okay. But I think it was the one with the Tarantino where you used the trailer music of that era. I think it was like all the big trailers that came out. That I think it was like the Zack Snyder movie, one of all the girls.
Used it was Levee Breaks. It's funny because I thought it was like an idea of being like, oh, I don't want to use Tarantino music because that's too obvious, and I want to use kind of the thing like Tarantino's all about matching up things that inspire him. Like, oh, I'm just going to mash up things that are inspiring me right now. And I mean, that was one that took off though. Like people, I remember that one got a lot of views back then.
But I was like, of all the music, this one.
I know.
Back then.
I know.
But now I'm like, it works because like that was back then. But now I'm like, no, that works. I like that because it's different. It makes it stand out, because there's so many videos like I would have probably changed back then, because I every once in a while, just to inspire me to get back onto the horse, is like I watch my old stuff just to like okay, don't do that, or what happened to that idea? Why don't you do that again but better? So that's what I do every so often.
There have definitely been songs I've used back then where I've been like, oh, what if I try to use it on this one thing I'm working on right now? It's a possible thing, but that hasn't happened very often.
Your modern stuff is really cool too, because I was watching just to prepare for this, and I was watching, I like the one where it's a Made for Love. I like that trailer. I was like, that was really cool. I was like, oh man, that's so awesome. I love it.
That was I won't take credit for that idea. That was our music supervisor's idea to get the what's it called, like the spoken word thing with Ray Romano, and then they actually got Ray to do it, and it was because I remember I worked on that for a long time, and it was they had a Ray Romano stand-in for the longest time. We just found a voiceover guy who kind of sounded like him, and then in the last few weeks, then we finally got the real narration and put it in. And that felt great. So, I'm really glad that one turned out the way it did. But good show.
That's good. So for those who don't know, Joel, explain, talk about yourself, like how you got into it and all that, and who you are.
Well, basically, so I was doing the mashup thing, like on YouTube back in like the early 2010s. And then the works thing sort of took off, really fast over those couple of years. And then it actually caught the attention of people in Hollywood, like who trailer marketing agencies and stuff. And actually the big guy who I really owe kind of my career to is Joe Carnahan saw my stuff.
That one. Yep.
He was a big fan of the work, and he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I want to try to get you in touch with like this one trailer guy I know, and this trailer editor named Skip Chasen, who used to work really closely with Tony Scott. It was around the time of what everything I had with Tony. Tony's very tragic passing. And he asked me to do a match, like a works for Tony Scott. And it's like, I was thinking about doing one anyway, so I made it. And then they sent that over to Skip, and then Skip really liked it, and he saw like my other stuff. And then I got to go down and meet with everybody down there, and I had a day or two where I just kind of got to play with some of the stuff they're working on, so try me out. And then they hired me as an intern back then, and then after a year I became an editor. So
that's cool. That's cool.
Had to make the move from Canada, but it was fun. Really fun.
So you're from Canada. That's right.
From the Toronto area. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
and you're Buffalo, right?
Buffalo. Yep.
Yeah.
I just went to what do you call it? Clifton Hill yesterday, Niagara Falls.
Oh, nice.
For that Comic-Con. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of which, that was like a freaking Magnolia kind of thing, like crossing.
Oh right. Yeah. The time. How many years ago was that? When that happened?
Oh my God, it's got to be like 6 years at this point, because it was like when I went to Fan Expo and I was dressed as Nedry, and it's got to be 5-6 years ago at this point.
Yeah, because you ran into, I don't remember he was my roommate at the time, but you ran into my old roommate there and took a picture with him. And it was just kind of like a weird thing where it's like, oh, I was like, look at my Instagram feed and it's Frank with Ben. I was like, wait, what? it kind of broke my brain a little bit. But that was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was like, because when I'm at Fan Expo, I usually try to take pictures with the cosplayers, and whenever I see something that's unique, like the Zissou character, I was like, I got to take a picture of the Zissou thing. And I think I told him to point, because I think he was just going to do a selfie. I'm like, no, you got to do the point, like in the movie.
No, you got to do the Bill Murray.
You got to do the point. So he did the point, and then like I think like a day later, whenever I posted, because I think I did like five pictures at that time, and it came out. I was like, oh my God! And you're like, oh my God, that's my old roommate. I was like, what?
Yeah, crazy. Like I said, crazy universe Magnolia moment. You got him. Oh wait, what's his name? Did the narration? I just like I can already start hearing it in my head. The magician. Why am I forgetting his name? I feel terrible.
I don't know. He had the ring. That's all I remember. The Stonecutter's ring.
No, I feel terrible forgetting his name right now. Sometimes I forget things when I'm on mic, but it'll come to me. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yes, that was awesome. Wicked cool.
Ricky J.
Yes. Oh my God, I would have never. I know. But when I was going back to your videos, but I was so appreciating your tributes, because I know mine. I think I've only done 2, but they go on for 3 days.
Well, no, that's fine. That's cool. Like I can sit through that. Like I love it. It's just I'm just so of like the trailer mindset where it's like everything's fast. Go.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Finish it.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I've always thought about doing them again, and there's been a time or two where I've tried to start making something.
Yeah.
But then it didn't materialize. There was one time. Well, it's funny. I've never heard the Wakes before. That's the first time I've heard someone say it like that. But it's funny. I wanted to make one. I was hoping to make one for the Wachowskis. In time for Matrix Resurrections, but and it's like it's funny. I love that movie. I was like so amped at leaving it and stuff, and then I looked at Twitter and I was like, I don't know if people really want to see this or not. But I had ideas. I was already starting on something. I had to cut this intro I really liked. I would have loved to put that together. Maybe someday. Maybe if Speed Racer 2 ever happens, I would do it.
Oh my God, Speed Racer! I remember that came back into my life because of you. Because like I was so excited about Elvis, and then you were like telling me like, dude, it's like Walk Hard meets Speed Racer. I'm like, well, I gotta rewatch Speed Racer.
And that's completely a compliment.
Yes.
Like that movie's like wild. So
yes.
Yeah.
What do you call it? It's like a love-hate thing. Like I love all the Elvis shit, and I love the editing. I love all the crazy choices, but it's just like the hurdle that's tough for me to rewatch it is that goddamn Tom Hanks performance. It is so a mixed bag for me. Well, I don't want to shit on it because it's
no, it's fine. No, it's all good. Yeah, no, it's I mean, he dialed up to 11. It was I thought it was fun.
So, it's awesome. Yeah, and then especially Speed Racer. Going back to that after watching the cartoon, because I had never seen the cartoon, and then watching like this is the cartoon. This is the cartoon on screen. It's wonderful. It's great.
It's awesome. It's such a cool way to translate sort of that to big screen. And I saw someone was talking about, it might have been you or someone else was talking about how Spider-Verse almost felt like, what would have happened if Speed Racer had taken off like back in 2008. It's like what would have evolved to, like at least stylistically.
That wasn't me, so I can't take credit for that.
I'm trying to remember where I read that. Like, oh yeah, that's I like that.
Yeah. So my question I wanted to ask earlier, but I'm like, I'll let you finish. But is there like a certain like thing that you have for trailers? Is there like when you watch, like what comes first? Is it like the clips? Do you have like an idea, or what happens? What's your strategy?
Well, most of the time nowadays, like it just they're like, here's the project, make the thing by this time or day. But like, what for my fan stuff, at least usually it's it's inspired by something I watch or whatever. But in terms of like my process, no matter what, whether it's like something I was planning on making or something I'm assigned, I always, in the ideal world I had the time, I like to just watch the movie, the show, whatever it is. I just watch it once. Like I would watch anything, like sit down with popcorn or something.
Yeah.
And then I try to do 2 selects passes. So I do one pass where I do just a dialogue, sound effects I like, just take all that. Usually if I have stems to work with, I just, mute the music track and I just pull that. And then I go through the movie again and I mute the dialogue. This is actually something my boss Mark, he's always, preached doing, is just turn off the dialogue and just go through and listen to it with just like music and effects and stuff. Yeah. And then just, sometimes, certain visuals hit when you're not hearing like dialogue under them.
Right. Yeah.
And I usually do that. Then I reorder them and then kind of just start, throwing stuff on the timeline until things kind of start working.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Cause like, I have to rewatch the Tarantino movies. Cause I was planning to do it way back in 2019, but all the movies are out of my head now. I have to rewatch them to get some of those, but there's definitely like cool visuals that repeat in his movies. And especially when I did the Paul Thomas Anderson thing, I popped so hard when I saw the Licorice Pizza trailer, because I'm like, this is all the things. This is all the things he does in his movies. There's people running, there's old music, there's people driving.
I remember being like a little overwhelmed when I first saw that trailer, because I saw it. I didn't know they were going to play it. I went to a Cinematheque screening at the Arrow in Santa Monica of I think it was The Train, like the John Frankenheimer movie.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we have a print of Paul Thomas Anderson's new movie trailer. Here it is. And I was like, I almost wasn't prepared. I was like, wait, what? And it was just, and he's getting Life on Mars and all this stuff. And I was just like, can you just roll that again, please? Right now. And it didn't go online for like another week or two after that. Oh, crazy.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that trailer is incredible, because I just remember watching it. I was like, damn, this is because it was like, you could tell it's like different scenes.
Yeah.
Oh God, I popped so hard for that shit. Like they've been doing that with the Flash trailer, where it's like you could clearly tell it's like different scenes in the movie, but it's like, are you ready? Ready? Let's go. I was like, yes.
I've been seeing that in little spots popping up everywhere. But yeah, I'm excited to see that one too. I'm seeing it later this week.
Yes, I'll be seeing that Thursday, and I might take Friday off just to talk about it with Luke, because I think Luke's going to see it too. Nice. So I got to negotiate with Luke and say like, no, it's good, it's good.
I'm almost more excited to hear your take on the movie. I mean, I'm excited to see it, but I know you've been like so thrilled about it. You've been having like all these like theory breakdown videos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting that you actually been watching my stuff. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, I listen to stuff like constantly. So so you always end up in the feed.
Yes, that's cool. Yeah, because right now, like, I understand, because when I'm at work and I'm working on something or like Photoshop or whatever, that's how I've been going through all those Talkvilles. It's like, I want to listen to Talkville, I want to listen to Regular Rosenbaum. Yeah. So I burned through those in like 2-3 weeks. I was like, oh man, now I'm all caught up. Damn.
Love it.
So, is there like any project that you've worked on that like was like huge and like most people know, or like what's your favorite project of that
I've ever done? I mean, probably the trailer I'm the most proud of was the I mean, there's a lot, and there's been a lot I've worked on that never saw light of day. I'm not sure if I can go into on, but probably the trailer for I'm Thinking of Ending Things, Charlie Kaufman.
Oh yes,
that's the one. It just came together so smoothly, and a rare thing for trailers, it barely changed from the initial version. Like I think the version 3 or 4 was the one that locked, and we locked really far ahead of time. And it was funny because I remember that movie, we got it like right at the end of, I think, February 2020.
Oh yeah.
And so as I started to work on it was when all the COVID stuff was happening. They're like, we want like an anxiety trailer at the same time. And it's like all this stuff in the world's happening. I'm just kind of like, I was still going to the office then, like mask on and stuff. And I was just like, what is happening in the world? And I have to like channel that into this thing. And it just came together just so much easier than I thought it would. And everybody really liked it. And I look back on it, and it's one of the few I look back where I'm not like, oh, we could have changed the mix there, or this picture would have been better there. That's like one of the ones. It was that. Well, the other one I'm really proud of is that and The Other Side of the Wind, the Orson Welles.
Yes, Orson Welles.
Or not re-release, but the finally release.
Yes, yeah. Because I remember seeing that trailer, and I didn't know it was yours at the time, but I remember really loving it. I was like, oh man, that's awesome.
That was a fun one to get. That was also that movie. I was talking about my breakdown thing. Sometimes like that breakdown idea works where it's like, oh, I'm just going to pull all the cool visuals. But that one, I remember my visual selects like ended up being like over a third of the movie. So I'm like, it doesn't really get you anywhere. It's just like, it's just all these, and the movie's cut so fast. So it's like all these shots that are like not even 20 frames.
Yeah.
Just nonsense. Like trying to, be like, oh, like, well, not nonsense, but, trying to reorganize that.
Yeah.
And I was just went through some music, and they pulled some really cool stuff. And it's another one where it just kind of came together. I'm just really happy with how that one feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
There's a video I just saw the other day. I don't know if you could talk about it or not. I don't know if you've been using it or not. But like, there's like this new AI program. I thought it was interesting because I'm like, oh my god, that would cut down editing so fast. But they use AI to go through there to find all the matching clips and then just like files or something. Have you used that yet? Or
I haven't. I mean, I've been meaning to learn. I mean, I think on our, at least not like with work. I mean, I've been meaning to pick up Premiere and kind of experiment with that just to because I'm thinking, oh, like if you could just put a movie in, it just like cuts it down to just a dialogue. You just have the script right there. You can just search for anything. Because I've been trying to adopt the mentality that AI is good for as like a tool.
Yes.
So like help productivity to get you through the more mundane stuff faster. But I'm also thinking like also during those mundane times I get a lot of my ideas, so I'm kind of like I'm not sure how I feel about it. So because it's like I kind of love that time where I'm kind of breaking it down and kind of fixing it and like learning it all. And so it's like 2 months later when we're working on something, I'm like, oh yeah, that random line and this thing or I'm trying to make a call. It's like he says the right kind of the here, so we can put that in there.
Oh my god, because there's so many times like where I'm editing or like. Because I saw that video and I was like, you know what? That's like the first thing of AI I've seen. Them like that's great because like they use whatever program or whatever to find all the people who are looking forward or someone's jumping or whatever and to cross-cut. I'm like, oh my god, that would cut down on so much time because I'm just thinking how I would scroll through all like the Paul Thomas Anderson or all the Tarantino things and just trying to find all those clips and then watching it. But like with something like that's cool. I'm okay with that.
I saw something for Premiere where it's like text-based editing where it literally transcribes it and then it becomes like an editable document and you just like type it and change it and it will just make it on the timeline. I'm like, that's cool. Like I'm not gonna lie, that's cool. But I think like I said, I just hope it stays as a thing where it's like becomes
a tool.
Like a tool to help you get to the the fun creative part faster. And not just like making Wes Anderson fake videes.
I think can we talk about it or do you know
I mean I can tell you I'll it's kind of telling that it can only make Wes Anderson. Like the computer's only thinking in symmetry and stuff. But I'll leave it at that. I mean, I can say I haven't been very impressed by it. I think there's a disconnect there.
To me, it's all they're doing is repeating it's like the Jeff Goldblum line from Jurassic Park. You're taking the things that you've seen and then you're just redoing, but you haven't learned it for yourself. Because to me, in my opinion, they're just doing the SNL skit from 10 years ago, the one with Edward Norton. That's all they're doing. They're just doing that again, and they're not adding anything new to it.
The one I keep thinking of. Do you know the channel Patrick Willems?
Yes.
I always think about his Wes Anderson X-Men whenever I see that. Yeah, that's why I always think of that. I'm like, I'd rather watch that. That's so much more fun.
And the same thing with the SNL skit with Edward Norton, because like that was fun, but like when someone tries to do that and then doesn't, I don't know, they don't add their own spin to it. Because like if you're going to take something, add your own spin to it. And then make it your own. Because I feel like that's what I kind of did with the Captain America Winter Soldier one, because I saw somebody else do something and I put my own spin on it. And then, although I kind of feel guilty about that, so whenever I look back, I'm like, ooh, maybe I stuck too close to it, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but that one,
that one, the Captain America, for a long time, I always would say tell people that's one of my go-to favorite fan edits ever.
Yes, thank you.
Is it Captain America VHS? Like I love it. I mean, I'm just a sucker for the Luke or Chris Evans and Scott Pilgrim in the phone booth. It's like the next sound he hears me holding the trigger, like that and anything. I'm just easily sold on that. Like I love it.
I remember when I edited that, and I'd get comments, and people were like, "There's enough clips in the original movie to use." I'm like, "That's not fun, though."
No, I love what you did. You put in all the machete stuff,
and then the fembot.
Love it.
Yes. Because because there's some things. Oh, go ahead.
But no, what I was going to say is that's the kind of like fan edits I wish I was like seeing more of nowadays. Is like because like what you did, like especially with the Kristen Stewart thing you just made. Crafting a story and like putting like dozens and dozens and dozens of clips together and like making it your own. It's like that is just there's so much heavy lift to be done there. Because I've had to cut like there's a thing that are made internally called rip-o-matics where you make you kind of sell a pitch of a movie like by making a trailer for this movie before anything's shot. It's like part of the pitch thing, and that's like a thing people make like for work, and it's incredibly hard, especially when you're starting from nothing. And whenever I see you make stuff like that, like I'm like, I wish more people were making stuff like this. I don't think there's anything wrong with the X movie X style things. Like those can be fun, but it's just like you could do a lot more than that.
I know. I've been saying that for years. I just wish editors were just like, there's like thousands of movies out there. Do something. Like even if you do something like retro, like the Jurassic World 78 or like Gone Girl 90s, like do something. Do a twist on it.
Exactly.
Man, I just wish they would do it. And because like I know how you're talking about like you could just type in a script or whatever, but like just an example, like the Batman trailer with Bruce Willis, it's like I knew all those movies by heart, all the Denzel movies, so it's like I know what he says, I know what Denzel says, I just need to plug it in, and then because for the longest time I was waiting for that damn Death Wish movie because that took forever to come out. Because it was
the Eli Roth one.
Yes.
Oh right, okay.
Because it was supposed to come out in November, and I'm like, okay, so if it comes out in November, then the DVD will come out in February. But then they moved the movie to February. I'm like, shit, that's like 6 more months. And that's how like Reset got made, because I was like, I have all these Bruce Willis movies, let me do something with them. So I did Reset and then went on to the Batman thing. But like that was just pulling on the lines, all the clips. It's like I had it all in my head and just had to put it out there.
And the whole in your head thing, it's something I just hope it never gets lost, because then it ultimately goes back to like, why we do this. We do this out of the passion, just because we love movies so much for just some reason, and we just have to get it out. And I remember when I started making stuff, I was like, why did I wait so long to start doing this? Like I just had all these things in my head for so long. And I wish I'd started earlier than like the end of high school, but it still went well. So
because so when you got into editing, like did you just get your laptop, or how'd that start out? Like honestly,
like back in
back in 08,
that I was using. I'm still in high school living at home. I was using like our family's like laptop, so I was just using like Windows Movie Maker. Throw a couple. Like I remember all my trailers had IGN watermarks on it. I downloaded them all from IGN. So every trailer's had like the changing IGN.
I remember that.
And but then eventually I got my own laptop and just started playing with iMovie. And then once I got into film school, I started playing with like Premiere and Final Cut Pro. And I was on Final Cut Pro for a while. Now I'm pretty much all with Avid now. I've just become so used to it, just because I do it 40 plus hours a week now. So it's kind of just sort of a thing, or it's kind of like a reflex. But I just have learned it over time. And
And was there any like specific movie that like in the beginning, like, okay, I need to work with this?
Oh man, I mean, well, I know Scott Pilgrim was the one that inspired making the mashups in general. Because I made the first Edgar Wright video, and Edgar Wright shared it, and like I was like, oh, that was kind of the first thing that sort of set me off. And then I just kind of kept making them and being like, oh, like what directors am I kind of really feeling right now? Because I remember there was like, oh, Tree of Life's coming out, and I want to learn more about Malick, so I would watch Malick, and then I'd make that, you put that in the ideas of what I do for that video. It's usually just I see something, or I just get a random idea, or I hear a song, and then I imagine like a selection of shots or lines just hitting it. For some reason my lizard brain just thinks that up. And then I'm like, I just have to commit this to the timeline. Like I remember back in high school when I was first starting in early college, I was working at a theater, and I'd be kind of like working the box office, like mindlessly selling people tickets and stuff, and I'd be thinking about ideas like as it was going. That's where that was like my weird idea time.
I had a sort of a similar thing, because in high school, before I was editing, I was drawing comics. So I would basically just draw my mashups that I wanted to do, and then I found out how to edit through the stupid little tiger toy, where I was literally like manually taking a VHS, fast forwarded, rewinding, pause record, because I didn't have a laptop at the time. So I was like doing it all manually. So I would actually have to, like, I had like a whole shot list. I used to do this in the beginning, but like now it's more of like it's all in here. It's like it's craziness. I don't know how the brain works, but it's like it's all up there. But back then it's like I had like a whole notebook of like, okay, I need the shot from Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, because it was from that Fight Club trailer. I literally I had to do all that manually on my little player, and I was just crazy of how I did that back then. And nowadays it's just like, oh, we just throw it on the timeline.
Throw on the timeline, and it's there. It's easier than ever, which is kind of crazy. But again, it's like more and more people have the access to it. And I feel like I'm not seeing. I wish I was seeing more really kind of stuff though from our era. Like I feel like there were more crazy ideas back then. Because
like now it's just like it's kind of lazy. I don't know. It's like. Like there's like all they're still doing, because I've noticed there's some people out there, no offense to them, but it's just like
no, it's hard. It's hard to make stuff in general, but I just wish I was seeing more.
I guess it's because you have to do something that's popular. I think that's the reason why I've never really caught on, is because I'm never doing stuff that's popular. I'm doing stuff like who the hell would think of that? Why are you doing this?
I love to see it.
Because like I remember my Gone Girl trailer. It was like, yes, but why now? why are you doing?
Why not? People still love Gone Girl.
Yeah. But like when I was working, I was just like, why is this? But like, yeah, because I think people are like, they want those views, and like people want to watch like a Spider-Man or Batman, and they stick with that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like, I could never do that because I remember like I could have easily just gone the easy route and just kept doing like Marvel VHS trailers, but I was like, I already did it. I don't need to do another one. It's like I'm gonna keep moving.
Got out of your system.
Yeah, yep. That's exactly what it is. You just have to get out of your system, like the Kristen Stewart thing. Jesus Christ, that's like 9 years or 10. I don't even know, like 10 years at this point. Where like I had the idea, but back then it was like there's not enough clips, and I want to use this actor specifically, so I'm going to wait until it's like ready. And it's like when it got ready, it was so wonderful because I was able to use all these clips, and like what I like doing is like using dialogue from different movies and using that same actor. Like when, because I remember, I think you were like, oh my god, I popped because it was the clip from The Gambler with John.
Oh right, yeah. But it's just seamlessly. Because I was watching a couple things, I rewatched like Reset, and it's stuff like that, and it was just like seamlessly going from one Bruce Willis voice clip to another. I'm like, and you don't even think of. I mean, I think about it because I just know where half of those are coming from. But it's like, most people would never, and I love that. I kind of it's almost like the whole invisible art thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, is good editing, noticeable editing, or is it editing you're not thinking about?
Yeah. I noticed that when I did my own Jurassic World trailer just recently, because I was like, I had this like vision. I was like, okay, I want to redo Jurassic World Dominion because I could visualize it. I could see it. I just need to put it on the timeline.
Yeah.
So like when I was editing it and I was like trying to find the words and clips, there's people out there who don't really know that like there could be like two different dialogue scenes in the different sides of the movie, and they mash them together. Like the Henry Wu thing, I'm like, he doesn't even say that. Like it's like three different scenes that they had to mash up for him to say some lines. So I'm like, okay, I have to do that. So I had to get the stem and just like stitch them together, and it's just wild.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love doing that. I love making cobbles and stuff. Only when I have to. I don't like force myself. It's like I really wish if this person said this. It's only so I feel like it's like completely necessary. You have to do it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to find that or
that. It's like I got to turn a they into a there, or it's usually little things like that. But I don't know. I don't know. I always have fun with that. That's another thing. I'm like, oh, I'd hate it. It's like they're saying, oh, AI is going to be able to like make cobbles and stuff easily. I'm like, but they're kind of fun to make at the same time.
I know.
Like it's I don't know. Yeah,
they're so fun to make.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of thinking like with that now, because it's like, man, if I just like wait a little bit longer, I'm sure there'll be a program where I could just use like type in like the Darkest Day and Darkest Night Green Lantern's light with Tom Cruise's voice. Like I won't even have to cobble it together. I'll just have to just type it in.
Yep.
And he'll say it. And
like the Tom Cruise AI bot or something.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure something already exists. You can.
Just,
it's kind of it started with have like I don't know, have Darth Vader tell you what directions to go or whatever. And it's because I mean they have all that data already, and they can have that. And they can have famous people say whatever street name you're going to.
Yeah.
So
that
was years ago.
Yeah. Because right now, because I know it's like still. Because now there's like easier downloads now. Because I know there's like a Trump one, a Morgan Freeman one, an Ellen. For some reason, there's an Ellen one.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're getting there.
Yeah. Well, it's also like all the people who have like who have like their own shows and stuff, and have like hundreds of hours of their voice. You probably have like it's not like I don't know if we're quite at the technology. You remember Mission Impossible 3 where he has Philip Seymour Hoffman say like that.
Oh, yeah.
Those 3 sentences. I'm like, is it gonna be like that someday? Where it's just you can just say those 3 sentences that somehow it's like the quick brown fox thing or whatever, where you somehow say like every letter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's definitely gonna happen at some point, and Tom Cruise predicted it.
Did Tom Cruise or did Abrams predict it?
He's ahead of the curve a lot of these times.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm probably of the whole summer the mission. That's what I can't wait for.
Oh yeah,
so psyched. I keep checking my phone every morning to see if tickets are out. When?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, I think I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, who buys advance tickets? But for LA, it's probably more important than out here.
Yeah, because the thing with that one especially is that it's funny because everyone's talking about Oppenheimer versus Barbie, all that, but I'm just like no, but also no one's talking about that Mission Impossible opens a week before that.
I can't believe they're pulling it out of IMAX for Oppenheimer. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why I really want to get tickets. I'm like, I need to see it like on the biggest thing possible.
Yeah.
It's only gonna be a week. Like I have to, but I'm very excited. We just finished rewatching all of them. We watched Fallout the other night, and
it
slaps. Love it so much.
I'm always trying to convince you to keep watching Maverick. Always watch Maverick.
I think like my fifth or sixth like logging of it, because I saw it in theaters like so many times. It was such. I remember seeing it the first time. That was another Arrow screening. We got to go see an early screening, but almost like a month before it came out, and there wasn't much of a reaction yet. And we got there. We were like in the second row, and the whole theater, it was nothing but like film fans and veterans, and it was like the Super Bowl. Like it was crazy, and Kaczynski was there and stuff too, so that was a cool Q&A. And I was like, I need to watch it again right now, but I was like, I'll have to wait 3 weeks. But it was pretty exhilarating, and I did do the this is probably the only time I'm ever gonna do it. I did the 4DX thing for that.
Yeah,
where it's like
that's right, the movie seats. Yeah,
and I'm like, this is like the only movie I feel like this would. I mean, I know a lot of people who love the 4DX thing. It's not quite my thing, but I'm like, this is like one of the few movies where I'm like, this works because it just feels like it's like a ride.
Oh man, that movie was so good, and like I think I've seen it 3 times in the theater.
Yeah,
and I think I watched it like 5 times when it came out on home video. It's like I love it.
It's still definitely one of those background movies. I'll just be like, okay, yeah, I need that background noise. It looks nice on the TV. Like it's just and I love the music. It's great.
Yeah, man. I remember in the theater, I was like, "What? There's more movie left?" Oh my god, that was always a good feeling.
Oh, with the whole, when they have to hijack the sorry, spoilers for the highest grossing movie of last year. Or I guess second highest. I guess because there's Avatar.
Yeah.
I guess domestically or whatever, it's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing when they have to hijack the F-16.
Yeah, because you think Tom Cruise is dead, and then he comes back, it's like, oh yeah,
yeah.
There's more movie.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, there's more movie.
It's like, no, please, like, don't end. It's like me. It's like, it reminded me of me being like, being Return of the King. At Return of the King, everyone complained there's too many endings. I was like, I don't want it to end. Can there be like 7,000 more endings? Like, please, just keep going. I don't care.
Speaking of Return of the King, that was like my only complaint about the new Spider-Verse movie. It was that there was too many cliffhanger. Like, okay, this would be a perfect time to cut. Yeah. But it kept going. I was like, come on, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I loved it. And I'm like, and I mean, I was caught off guard by the the part 1 thing.
Yeah,
because somehow I like forgotten that was even a thing. So it had the part 1 title for like a little while.
Yeah, it's even on the toys and merchandise. Yeah,
but I'm just like, you know what? Like, I love this movie. I wish it was more like the full picture, but we're getting that in the next year or whenever it's coming out, and then they stick the landing. I'm probably gonna love this movie more than I already do. So it's so I'm psyched. I've already seen it twice. It's great.
That's cool. That's cool.
There's this theater. I had to go check it out. They it's kind of weird, but the old Culver the Culver ArcLight, they reopened it. Amazon bought it out, and they retrofitted all the screens. They don't have projectors anymore. They have these giant LED screens. Giant. It's very strange, but it's like it's like the blacks are like perfect, and everything like looks properly matted. And I was thinking, Spider-Verse is probably like because I already saw it like a regular theater. Before that, and I was like, I want to try Spider-Verse and listen. It looked unbelievable. It looked really, really like the colors just pop and everything. It's such a fast, exciting movie.
There's so many movies I wish I could see like perfectly, because I remember out here, our screens are okay, but not that great. And I remember the Northman. I wanted to see that like because there's some screens where I live where it's just like it's sort of dim. I think they replaced the bulb finally. Because I just seen Transformers in the theater where I'm always complaining about the low bulb, and it looked fine. I'm like, okay, they replaced the bulb. It's no longer dark. Yeah, because in that dark theater, I think that's where I saw Nope, and it totally changed my opinion on the movie because it was too dark and the audio. Yeah,
that's one is like that one's particular, like all the the nighttime stuff.
Yeah,
where it's like if you're doing proper calibration, that can really mess with how that looks.
Yeah.
There was something we watched off some streamer recently where the whatever file it was they uploaded was the color timing was off, and it just kind of ruined the whole thing. It's like, and there's a lot of really dark stuff. I'm like, I can't even see what's happening.
Yeah,
like if you don't have just the right calibration on something, like
sort
of. It's like if that gag in Hereditary where she's like in the corner, like you have the wrong, like when the kid gets up and Tony Collette's in the top corner. It's like if you have the wrong calibration on your TV, you might not even see that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, because there's just so many things. Because and the TVs nowadays, they have so many stupid automatic settings. So I was you got to turn them all off. I was trying to rewatch. I was in the middle of like a Scream rewatch. I was watching the whole series over and over again. Yeah. So it was like Scream 3, and for some reason the screen kept going dim, dark, dim, dark, dim, dark. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And apparently it's for your eyes, or people with sensitive eyes. So for every shot, it would adjust the brightness.
Oh, that thing, yeah. I remember whenever I got my my LG, it kept doing that, and it took me forever to even find the option to get rid of it.
I know, same here. I was like, what is that? I had to Google it. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
and I just had to turn everything off.
Yep, I turned everything off, and then it's like I make the saturation a little higher, just because I kind of like those colors to pop a little more than they should, but that's just me. But yeah, no, I always tell everyone, get rid of the filmmaker mode. Yeah, I have a very vivid memory. Years ago, I lent someone a copy of Seventh Seal. And I walked in on them watching it, I was going to see them, and they were watching it. It had the motion smoothing on. I'm like, it looked so hideous. I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh my god!
like watching like a Bergman movie with that. I'm like, oh, come on.
Oh my god, it's so gross. I don't like it. I don't like that thing because I remember when I got my TV, because this one was just like recently purchased. So I watched like Blazing Saddles, and it had that smooth. I was like, no, stop! Blazing Saddles shouldn't look like this.
Yeah, jeez. It's like or whenever you go to Best Buy or something, and they're showing movies, but they always have it on for some reason. I'm like, turn the crap off.
Turn it off.
It doesn't look good. Yeah. No. I mean, I have mixed feelings on the I think the whole 48 frames a second thing. I can see kind of the potential that it's shot for it. I always thought something like all CG, like a Pixar movie with it or something, could look really cool. But it's also, that's kind of why the high frame rates look really good in video games, because it's all just, you're not seeing actual people, but the second you start seeing real people, it starts looking weird.
Yeah. Because I do understand some of the settings, because I assume it's for sports games. That's fine. Video games, that's fine. But for movies, because I'm a movie guy, it's I need to turn that shit off. I can't. Yeah. I just can't deal with it.
Yeah.
And even some streaming services look weird, because I remember I was lazy. I was like, I'm just going to watch my digital copy of Nobody. And it was all smooth, and no, I know Nobody doesn't look like this. So I turned it off and got up, got my Blu-ray, put it in.
Yep.
Perfect. It looked grainy. It looked gritty. I love it.
Yeah. So it was baked into the file that way.
Yeah.
Emotion. Wow.
And I still think I think it still had one of those settings on too, because I think I had it in auto or low. Yeah. But I'm off.
Yeah. You got the soap opera version of
yeah. It's
Buddy.
No, gross. It's so gross.
Yeah, I know. I it's funny because I've done it, I fixed for my parents for it, and I feel like I've come home on a Christmas or something, and it's just oh, it somehow got back on again. But I can understand for sports. I mean, I don't really watch sports, but
yeah,
I can. Oh, by the way, am I coming through fine sound wise?
Oh yeah,
I probably should have asked that at the beginning.
You're peaking a little bit, just a little bit.
This is a $20 mic I bought.
Okay, that's fine.
Forever ago. So
I'm sure I peak it sometimes on this, because this one is just automatic. So same thing.
Okay, I was hoping I was just coming through fine. So I because I was I scrambled to find the cable and stuff. I was where did I put that? So I just make sure.
Same here, because I had my cable that came with my Sony camera. I was looking at it today, and it was all bent. I was all right, I don't want to risk it, so I used the new cable I got. It's working so far, so that's fine. Yeah. Because this is all new to me, because I started in December, and just practicing. Because I remember I didn't know that I needed an actual cord for the laptop, so it was all choppy. And then I had to use my phone. I'm like, okay, I can't use my phone all the time, so I need to figure this out. And then I started using my Sony ZV-1, because I got it for my vlogs, but then I found out it's perfect for streaming. So that's what I've been using. I love it.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's so I'm curious, what inspired you to do the whole start doing the streaming thing?
I finally got my own place, and I was I want to contact friends who I haven't talked to in person, or because there's people out there who I want to talk to. I want to talk to Jasmine. I want to talk to my friend Tara. I'm going to talk to Jen soon, and then it's just I want, because I feel like I'm an introvert in real life, but on these I just feel oh yeah, I'm Frank Ireland, but in real life, it's whenever I see a party or some situation, it's I can't do things. So I'm using this as a way to communicate better, get my thoughts better.
Cool.
Yeah, because that's what I do the show with Sarah. That's the whole, because I remember I was talking to Sarah last year over the phone, and she said something oh yeah, Princess Bride is one of my favorite movies. And I felt I was too negative, it's all right. But I was I shouldn't have said that. I should have said oh yeah, I like it. Yeah. I should have had a better answer. So that's why I'm I want to do this, so I could, communicate better, and I feel like that's what it's been doing.
No, and I think what you make is really fun, and this is fun. This is actually the first time I've ever done any kind of live thing before. I've done a podcast thing before once or twice, but like, yeah, no, this is the first time I'm doing a live thing. But I'm also not seeing a chat or anything right now. So as far as I know, it's just you.
Yeah, I've noticed like whenever I do it singly, people show up, but when they know I have a guest, they assume like, okay, you're going to be talking to the guest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I never really caught on to the whole like sort of streaming boom. Because I mean, I love video games, but I never really caught on to, like the Twitch thing. Like it just never really was like, the appeal never really was quite my thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'd rather just see like a 20-minute highlight reel of someone like playing through something versus like a 7-hour stream. Or I don't know. But it's just, different strokes.
It depends who it is, though.
Yeah, depends.
Because I would love when it was Rich, Jack, and Jay.
Oh yeah, the previously recorded days.
Oh God, I miss those. I know.
Yeah,
that's like hours of awesome stuff. Oh my. Okay, can we talk about that? Let's talk about Red Letter Media. Like when did you first watch them?
Oh, Phantom Menace.
Okay, you were there.
Yeah, I was there. I nearly. I remember that went up, or I don't know if it went up, but I discovered it. I think maybe Slash Film shared it or something. It was the day before an exam I had. That I didn't study for very well, and I was like cramming studying, and I went on the internet that night. It was like 9:00, and someone had posted this like, oh, check out this 70-minute long Phantom Menace thing, and I saw it was like 3 or 4 parts. I'm like, okay, let's watch the first part. No, I just watched the whole thing. Luckily, I passed the exam next day. I don't think I did very well, but I vividly remember just watching that. And then I probably watched that thing so many times. There's like a lot of it that's just embedded in my brain.
Same here.
Yeah,
I think there were so many times where I would watch those, and I just love when they started doing like best of the worst. Because I was like, hot damn, that's awesome content. But like, I remember like my friend Alan, he shared it with me, and I'm like, I'm not watching a 70-minute review. Like that was insane to me. I'm like, who could talk about Phantom Menace for 70 minutes? Like, what is this? But he says, no, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's funny. I just remember because I've never been a Star Trek person, but I've been watching a lot of the mainline Star Trek movies, a lot of them for the first time. I'd seen like Khan in the first one, but I'd never seen, like basically 3 onwards. I think I saw in Nemesis. What's the one? First Contact.
Yep.
Because I'm just talking now. I just remember like, oh, they had all those Star Trek ones, but I didn't watch it because I didn't know what was going on with Star Trek and all, so I skipped them. And I'm like, oh, I can go and watch this. And I'm curious, but it is pretty wild when you think about it, like what they kind of pioneered with that.
They pioneered so much with their content, like their videos and all that. Oh my God, like it's crazy. And like you could like, I know people are trying to like shit on like, oh, they inspired like this, but it's like what happens. Like there's people who do it wrong, like a CinemaSins or some other reviewers out there. I don't know. I don't watch them because they're not Red Letter Media. I don't watch them. There's like only I always say this on my streams, but I always watch Mark Kermode and the Red Letter Media guys because that's all I trust. I don't trust nobody no more. But I remember back, and I think the reason why I watched it finally, because I think I had sprained my ankle, so I couldn't really go anywhere. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to watch this. And I watched it. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I was there for like episode 2. It almost felt like an event because I think they did it every Christmas or like Thanksgiving or something around that time. Because there was like episode 2, and then there was episode 3, and then like Baby's Day Out. And
I remember the Baby's Day Out one came out because I was just like, excited for anything, and I think maybe they did episode 1 and 2, but they didn't Revenge of the Sith yet. And then they launched Baby's Day Out, and at first I was just like, what? This isn't what's this? And I watched it, and I was like crying and laughing by the end
of it. Because he really breaks down that movie, and then that whole scene when the guy gets thrown to the cage, and he's like, he would break his back and his spleen. His head would leave from his body. Oh my God. And now they keep getting Baby Binks. That cracks me up. It's a baby Bink.
I still haven't seen that movie in full. I've never sat down and actually watched it. I'm like, I don't need to. I have this media review.
It was one of the ones I watched a lot as a kid. There's a lot of stupid ones I watched as a kid. It was that Dustin Checks In, and then what's another stupid one?
No, I mean, it's funny. I haven't seen Dustin Checks In probably since like
I know I haven't seen it since the 90s. Yeah.
I'm afraid to see how it feels.
Just let it be. Let it seem okay in your memories because
it's like me in the George of the Jungle for back then. Do I want to bring it into adult Joel's life because I loved it so much back then?
I feel like that with Mr. Magoo, where it's like I know I liked it, I knew it was funny. Same thing with like Blank Check. I don't want to be weirded out now. I don't expect then. I thought that was so cool. I thought it was so cool that this kid or had like a hot babe, but now as an adult I'd be like, that's weird. That's actually weird.
Yeah. No, I just I'm like maybe just let's leave that in the. It's like it's almost like how memories are almost better than like pictures of it or videos of it.
Yeah, it's like let it be.
Yeah.
There's some movies that I'm okay with going back to. Like I definitely want to revisit Small Soldiers. That's been in the back of my brain, dude.
Yeah. I think I remember first seeing that one. I haven't seen it back then. I remember I think I first saw it when I got my tonsils out. I was at the hospital and they had the VHS of it. I think that's when I first saw it. Oh. But yeah, it's so funny. For the long time, I didn't realize it was Joe Dante.
Yeah.
For the longest time, even like when like I got more into film later on, like in my teens and stuff, for whatever reason, I'm like, oh, that was Joe Dante. That actually makes complete sense.
Yes, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because at the time I didn't think about it, but now like looking back, I'm like, oh, they're parodying like Toy Story meets Gremlins. Oh, at the time I didn't think. I was just like, oh my god, this is so cool. It's like this G.I. Joes versus like animal guys, because it was like of that era. It really felt like of that era of like of the toys and stuff.
Yeah, the era like when there would be like toy commercials and stuff, and that was just such a big thing. Like like I'm like even wondering with kids today, it's like, is that even like a thing anymore? Like commercials for toys? Is it just,
I don't know.
iPads? Or is it just like commercials for Fortnite or pop-up ads for Fortnite? Like that's all it is.
I don't know what kids are into now, because now I'm starting to notice that for all these like just for example like these retro Jurassic World toys or whatever.
Yeah.
They're aiming it for adults now. So it's like a grown 40-year-old man playing with these toys in the ad. And I'm like, okay, so kids aren't buying toys anymore. It's the adults now.
Like I do wonder, like, as much as like, kids nowadays like love like, the Spider-Verse and stuff like that. I'm like are the toys that like flying off the shelves? Like, I mean, I have no idea. It's just a world I don't know at all. I'm just curious just because how kids, are so technology focused now.
I was trying to, because like sometimes they're there, but it's like I just assume that it's the adult collectors out there picking them up, because I still have not been able to find the Michael Keaton toy, and it's like sold out everywhere. I'm like, okay,
oh really?
Yeah. Wow. That like the figure for the new Flash movie. It's like that's the only one I can't find. And it's
the 6-year-olds aren't clamoring for the Michael Keaton figures.
And it's funny too, because even like the younger generation don't even know it. Like whenever I call GameStop, I literally said, hi, do you have the McFarlane DC multiverse Michael Keaton figure from the Flash movie? I give every word in the dictionary to explain it. And they're like, okay, what is it? And I literally say the whole thing again, but slower. And it's just like, oh my God, like freaking, what is it? 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds have no idea who Keaton is. That just blows me away.
Yeah, that breaks my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
If you don't know, Michael Keaton Batman at 23. But wait, that would mean 23 would be what year born? That'd be like late 90s.
Yeah, late
maybe
90s.
Into early 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
like my younger brother was born around then, so I was just thinking, oh yeah, he's about that age. He's a little older than that. Yeah.
Because I know we're similar age. What age are you now?
I'm 31. I was born 91.
Oh damn, I'm older than you. Damn. Damn. Yeah, 30. I just turned 32. So wow. Yeah, I guess we're in that same era of all those like toys, like Street Sharks, Ninja Turtles, all that stuff.
I was just always completely won over by commercials. I think that might have been like what sort of got me into trailers in the first place, was just like loving commercials and just like how snappy they were. Because I remember even like watching like VHSs and like never fast forwarding the trailers. I'm like, there's something satisfying about them.
Like nowadays, like I can't stand it, but back then there was like an art to it. It was like you get like the little green FBI logo, and then it's like something that's coming up on VHS, like, and then it would be like a sneak preview where like the curtains open and it's like all animatics. I love that shit. That was so cool back then, because it just felt like, oh, you're getting a sneak peek. You shouldn't be seeing this, but here's a little sneak peek. Like,
it's cool. Well, sometimes when I watch old Blu-rays, like sometimes they have those still, like when they have the trailers like before the menu and all that. And sometimes I sit through them, sometimes I don't. I'm like, oh, here's that, the 2006 Sony Blu-ray mashup thing again that I've seen a million times. I mean, it's cool. I always love that stuff, but it's like, I've seen this so many times. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's always fun to like look at it as like a time capsule. Or it's like, oh, this is the thing that was like the big upcoming thing that summer.
Yeah. One of my favorites from the DVD era is Fox DVD video. Oh, I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, and we celebrate our Independence Day or whatever. So good.
Because nowadays, like new stuff, I don't think it has that really at all. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw that, like in a recent release, where they kind of like trailers for like, oh, here's like the latest like let's say like John Wick comes out in a couple days, like it has a couple Lionsgate shows in front of it. I don't think they don't do that anymore.
No, usually sometimes it just like opens up to the menu, and I do know that I don't know if they still do it now, but I do know that Lionsgate, like you can't skip it or hit menu, you have to actually fast forward.
Yeah. Oh, when you hit play and it goes through the logos and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I always do? I always go to the scene selection. I hit the second chapter and then it's immediately hit back, and then you skip all of it.
Yes,
that's what I. Oh, so there's sometimes where that does work, and there are ones when it doesn't. But those are
there are
Joel problems.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
my mom's like that, but usually she's just like she knows she'll fall asleep, so she wants to skip the part that she's already seen, so she'll start like chapter 3 and then go forward.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I always do that. No, but I mean, I miss that old era of like DVDs where it's like just like the special features were almost the reason to get it at the same time. Like I think back like those extended edition Lord of the Rings things were like seminal to me. Like even just like thinking about like making movies is really cool. Like I don't have to just watch them. Like you can make them too. Like that's that was like that was a big one. Like Lord of the Rings, like for me, like growing up, that was like my Star Wars. Like that was the moments. Like I always say, because I remember I first saw Fellowship in the small theater in the town my grandma lived in. My uncle took me to see it. It's this really small, crappy theater, and like picture was probably crap. I mean, I was like 9, 10, 9.
Yeah,
about that. But like I always say, like even despite the circumstances, like no movie's ever felt bigger than that. Nothing has ever.
Yeah.
It just, and I always kind of like hold that in my mind and remember that.
Yeah. I have a special memory with Lord of the Rings. I remember we were bored. We had nothing to do. It's like, let's go to the movies. What's playing? I don't know, Lord of the Rings. Who cares? We watched it. We were so enthralled. And I remember at the end when it leaves on a cliffhanger, I was like, what? Oh, man. Because I had no idea about the books or nothing. And then like that summer, immediately went to the library and got all these, like back then, cassettes on tape and just listened to the audiobook. Lord of the Rings, and it was just incredible.
Yeah. Even like I like the tactileness. I like even like I think like the cassettes, like as much like it sucks I carry that book around. There's something satisfying, like progressing through one. It's like, oh, I got this many left. I'm almost there. It's almost like like it's like the same thing. Getting through a book and realize, oh, I'm only 100 pages from the end.
But there's so many great memories of movies and such. Like you're talking about like the special features. Like one of my special feature, like my favorite special features, was the Hot Fuzz DVD set, the special edition that came with the what's his name? Joe something. The guy who directed
Joe Cornish.
Yeah, Joe Cornish. He was there on the promotion for Hot Fuzz. And just to see that that behind the scenes that I had no idea, like, oh my God, that's what they do? Because they just went like from hotel to hotel or conference room to conference room just to do the press tour, and how exhausted they were. And it's just like, damn. Flushing cakes. I was inspired by that. I remember back in the early days.
Yeah,
I had some flushing cake videos on my YouTube. Oh my God.
Yeah. Hilarious. I haven't watched those in a while, but I love those features, like devouring the commentaries and stuff.
Oh my God. Like, do you have any favorite commentaries? Like, do you remember?
Man. I mean, I love all Lord of the Rings ones. Those are all good. It's funny. I somehow didn't know Titanic had a commentary until like months ago. I somehow didn't know that. It somehow slipped past me. So I sat down and listened to that. Now I love listening to Cameron talk about stuff. So, yeah.
That's
I'm not sure like all time favorites. It's hard. So,
because I definitely like going back to the Evil Dead 2 commentary with Sam Raimi, Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and then it was the other writer. I forgot his name, but like they all talk about the movie. Love that one. The Simpsons ones.
Oh yeah.
Incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. Just learning about their process and how like they rewrote the episode like 30 times to like really fine tune it to what it is. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Those I haven't re-listened to in a long time.
Yeah.
Now I might have to.
They're like all embedded in my brain. Like the whole Conan O'Brien thing has stuck with me. I think I shared that video with you because I was like, for the longest time, I'm like, Joel, this is advice. I need to share to you. And I finally uploaded. It was the one where it's like the Jerry Lewis, where it's like, tell the audience what you're going to do, then do it, and then tell them it's been done. I'm like, that's exactly everything.
Boil it down. Boil it down to that. Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah. Oh my God. And I'm trying to think there's like another, there's a DVD I have that I've been keeping for years, even though it's like right now, it'd probably be like one of those little square ones, but like, it's the only commentary track that John Hughes ever did was for Ferris Bueller, and it's only been on that original release from like the early Paramount days. It's never been on any other release. I'm kind of hoping it's on the 4K, but like,
I was about to ask, is it on it?
No,
they just announced it.
I hope so. because that recording has only been on that original disc. I can't get rid of it. I gotta keep it. It's a collector item.
Yeah,
because he had some interesting stories too on his commentary. Because I remember he was like, "Oh yeah, here's my cameo," and then all of a sudden, like, there's this guy in the background who's like jumping over a car for like no reason, and it's John Hughes. I was like, "What? What?"
That's a movie. That's one of those ones where it's like I was never as crazy about it as most other people. I mean, I think it's great. It's one of those. It's kind of like Ghostbusters, where it's like I've seen it like in full like 2 or 3 times, but I'm not as immersed into it as other people.
Yeah. Yeah, like what other movies are you not as immersed in? Because there is some of those movies out there that are like that.
Yeah, where it's I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of ones from my generation. I mean, everyone. I think I've seen Mean Girls like only once. That was one. It's like nothing against. It's a great movie. It's just there's just like those random ones where it's like you know it feels like a cultural touchdown and then for whatever reason didn't register as much. Jeez, I'm trying to think of others.
Because I know Step Brothers is one, but it was funny because when I met John C. Reilly, the only movie I could think of was Step Brothers. Even though it never stuck with me.
I think it's funny, as much as I love like Magnolia and stuff, I think I'd probably immediately think Steve Brule if I saw him in person. This is the first thing I think of.
Because I remember after meeting him, I was like, I love Boogie Nights. I love Chicago. Why the hell did I say Step Brothers?
Oh man, yeah, it's so crazy because like always like watching when I go back and watch stuff from the early 2000s and just how much he's showing up, and I'm like, I completely forgot he was in The Aviator because I always think of him as this funny man. That's
right.
And he's like in The Aviator, he's in Gangs of New York. There's a couple others back then where it's like I was kind of caught off guard to just see him in not comedies.
Yeah.
But he's great. He's so good at what he does.
He's great. Like the thing that reminds, because you just mentioned The Aviator, his scene in that Paul Thomas Anderson loves how he wakes up in the movie because he's like, man, that's some good acting because you really look like you woke up. There's like fake waking up, but like you really look like you woke up. Because there's that scene because he wakes up and like Howard Hughes is like listing up all this crazy ass crap, and he's like, hang on, what? Perfect.
Yeah, little nuances. Love it.
Yes. But like, so when you grew up, was there any like favorite movies of yours? Like, oh man, I love this movie.
Oh, I mean, I'm trying to think like the ones that were like, the big,
like the big
hits. Yeah. I mean, like I said, Lord of the Rings. I mean, like anyone else, Star Wars. Cause I remember, I don't think I saw the first Star Wars like at all until the 97 special edition, like theatrical re-release. Like I got to see it like that. That was really cool. Jurassic Park, of course, Matrix. Trying to think like, through like I'm trying to think like what was like the one. I remember the big one that sort of broke the mold because I used to only watch like go to theaters a couple times a year, just watch the big stuff. I remember seeing Children of Men the first time. That was the one that made me think, oh, I need to kind of broaden my horizons. Like I need to see, even though that was like a big budget studio release movie at the time, it just kind of got me thinking about, oh, like what are these smaller things? Because I remember Children of Men, I hadn't even heard of it until like 6 hours before we went to see it. My friends and I. And I remember that was a big one that made me want to broaden my horizons. And then that led in 2007. So there was like, I was like, okay, I'm going to go see like Zodiac. And like, there was, of course, the No Country, There'll Be Blood double hitter. And, it's trying to like, figure out who these guys are, like the Coens and PTA.
Yeah.
Those are good. And then I started working at a theater later that year. And so I just went and saw like just everything.
Oh man, that's
everything
so cool.
Across the board. Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild. So because my ones that expanded my horizons were definitely No Country for Old Men, and then There Will Be Blood. And I remember those just being game changers for me. I just remember sitting in the theater because they were like those little smaller ones, so they were in like the smaller theater, even though like all the big ones were playing the big movies. But go in there and just watching There Will Be Blood and just like watching, just like, oh my god, I've seen something that'll change my life forever. It's still in my life. Me and my mom still quote that movie on a daily basis. Jesus Christ, we love that movie.
Yeah. I've been wanting to go back and watch it because I've been kind of doing this thing with some movies that like I kind of overwatched back when I was younger, where I'm like, I'm taking like a 10-year break. Like I'm not going to watch Fight Club for at least another like 10 or 15 years, or like I'm not going to watch Pulp Fiction although I did break the Pulp Fiction one because they had the new 4K that came out. That was crazy good. But that was my first time I think seeing it in full in years, at least like years. And it was like I was trying to watch it like not and try to like detach my mind from it being just a bunch of references, like references like through the real world things. Yeah, constantly saying like it's like no, just let it just sit with it, just ask. No, that's something I'm trying to. There'll Be Blood's one of those ones where like I'm waiting for the right day to go back and watch it again. Because I know I'll love it. Like I love that movie. It's one where it's like I watched it way too much back around that time, and I need to just attach myself from it for like a decade or so. It might have been for the works the last time I watched it.
Oh yeah. That's about 8 years ago now, or maybe 10. Yeah, 13. Yeah. With me, I'm doing that this year. I think I've done that with Terminator 2.
I couldn't with that one. That was just
because I watched that too many times as a kid. And then the other one that freaked me out when I rewatched it was Forrest Gump, because it's all up here. It's all up here somehow. Because I was quoting along with the movie, and I just felt like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix when he's like fighting one-handed. I was just like, how is it up here? How the hell is all that crap up here still? But I loved it. And it just cracked me up though, like how technology is sort of like anyone can do it. Like back then, it was like groundbreaking to put Forrest Gump into the footage. Like nowadays, me and you could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyone could, put themselves talking to the Beatles or whatever that scene was. He's like
Dick Cavett. Yep.
Oh right, yeah. I haven't seen Forrest. I think the last time I saw Forrest Gump, I didn't really watch it. My friends and I, for whatever reason, we were at a wedding in Monterey, and we went for whatever reason. We were like, we need to get some drinks somewhere, and for whatever reason, they decided to be like, let's go to Bubba Gump. And I was in a view where the movie's just playing on loop. And as I saw it from like the middle to the end, and then they started playing again. So I watched in this really weird way without sound. And I was like reminded of all these moments. I'm like, oh yeah, like the Sally Field and stuff.
Yeah. It's so funny watching that movie now, because Sally Field doesn't look that old, and in the movie she's supposed to be like 80 or something. But
they got her in all the makeup and stuff at the end. But it's like you're talking. It's like I remember all the moments. I was like, I don't even need to see the dialogues. Like I just remember the delivery of that.
Yes. Oh my God, there's so much. I think I still need to wait on The Dark Knight. I've said this several times, but like I burned that. Like that's too much. Too many times.
Yeah, that was the summer I first started working in the theater, and I saw that because I was just, I just
2008 was huge.
Yeah,
for movies.
Crazy. Yeah, that whole summer. I always laugh. I always think of there's some. I mean, maybe it's like one of the first times in a movie where I was watching it, I started feeling a little old. I remember when Boyhood came out, there's a part where he's like talking to Ethan Hawke, and he's like, oh, the 3 movies of this summer are like, he says like Dark Knight, Tropic Thunder, and I think Step Brothers. And he's like, I'm like, that wasn't that long ago. And this kid who's now like an adult, he looks like a little kid then. I was like, it hasn't been that long, has it? And I was like, wait a minute, is this what time is?
But 2008 was so huge though, because Tropic Thunder, Pineapple Express.
Bro. Oh, that he said Pineapple Express. I don't think he said Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah. Because I think even like the Hulk came out that year, right? It was like
the Norton one.
Yeah, the Norton one.
Yeah.
Huge year. Damn.
Yeah. I remember. That summer was like crazy for movies. Because it was just busy all the time because it was a new theater that opened, and it was just working through it was like Iron Man, Dark Knight. What else was crazy that year? Twilight was like insanity when that came out.
That was 2000. Yeah,
that was a lot of late nights. I never watched it, but it was a lot to work through. A lot of like working at like 3 a.m. cleaning up popcorn and stuff. Yeah.
Back then when they did midnight showings back then.
Yeah, they did. I used to go to them a lot.
Yeah,
I missed that. I remember I had some friends. We used to go to like the midnights of like everything. Like even stuff we were crazy about. Like I was like, we're not excited about. I was like, let's just go to the midnight of it because it's just fun to see it with that crowd. Because sometimes you get like a really good crowd. And there's this big IMAX we live near that we used to go for everything. So
I forgot when it switched over, but I think around maybe they kind of hinted at it in LA at least. I don't know if it's everywhere, but I remember in 2011 where I saw like Horrible Bosses on Thursday at 7 p.m. It wasn't even like a crazy time. And same thing with Drive. Oh my God, Drive.
So good.
Yeah. So many midnight showings. I remember the Watchmen trailer before The Dark Knight was just incredible.
That's the thing I miss. I miss like those. I mean, they still have it sometimes. Like Oppenheimer just had one.
Yeah,
there was like the exclusive window where you can only see it then. I remember being at a midnight show. I can't remember what it was, but they had the Inception trailer before it came out.
Yeah,
and watching that cold like in a theater was nuts.
I was going to say it was it Mission Impossible, but I think Mission Impossible came out the same year or next year.
Because Inception 2010.
Yeah, Inception came out 2010, and then Mission Impossible 4 was 2011.
Oh right. No, because I remember Mission Impossible had the whole Dark Knight Rises thing.
That's right. That's what I'm confusing it with.
Yeah. That it's funny because I love the whole IMAX thing, and if I could like have one movie come back into IMAX just so I could see it one more time, like on the print and all that, it'd be Mission Impossible 4, 100%. 100%. That one was glorious.
Yes, I saw it on the fake IMAX at the LA Live downtown. That's where I saw it on the biggest screen there. I was like, oh man,
it's awesome. I wish they'd release the that version of it at home. But I think I remember Brad Bird had some whole thing where he was saying like, oh, I don't want to release like that because he doesn't get like aspect ratio changes on TVs. Yeah. Which I can understand that. I just would love to see it for myself. And like Dune had that as well, and they didn't release it like that at home. And it's like, oh man,
yeah. So, and I was wondering about that with the John Carter. Speaking of which, about IMAX, didn't they film it in IMAX or I don't know.
I don't think they did. I mean, because I'm a crazy person and I love the 3D stuff, and I've been actually going online and finding like old 3D Blu-rays like on eBay and getting them for like $2 or $3 because they're usually in pretty good condition. And I remember we were talking about John Carter. I'm like, that is one. I mean, because I hadn't seen it since back when it came out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really wonder how this ages because like, regardless, my whole thing with this, like, regardless of how people feel about it or how the performance was, when people complain about like not enough crazy, unique stuff's coming out, I always have to ask like, well, did you go to pay to see John Carter?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, this technically is the kind of movie, like when people say something like this is technically the movie you want.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I have my quibbles with it, but like, it's like, it's a movie that definitely feels like it's made with love. Like it feels like it's made by someone who really cares about this. And like, I feel like, I don't know. There are sequences I thought were neat. Like, did you watch it recently?
I just rewatched the first part before this. I only watched like the first like 50 minutes of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna watch the whole thing after this because I was like really getting into it. Like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly like a movie I'm like particularly like crazy about, but it's just it just makes me think of like when people say we want these kind of I wish we had more of these kind of movies. I'm like, they happened.
Nobody goes to them.
Yeah, that's the bummer part of it.
Yeah, because it was like this. I know this one's a good example. Dread is a good example. What the hell is the other one? Valerian. I remember Valerian was like in the theater for like a week.
Yep.
And then got pushed out. Yep, I went too.
I went. I thought it was. I thought just as kind of like a visual feast. It was really
I'm like, I want to go back to that world because like that was so cool.
Yeah,
and even that Jupiter Ascending is another one. Just go see it. Just go see it.
Just support it. Just support it. Yeah,
these weird ass movies.
Yeah. But I mean, I just also like looking at them as relics of just like just they spent this much money on this crazy idea.
Yeah,
and I just it makes me want to just like push aside the CinemaSins poison brain and just enjoy it.
Yeah,
as it is. Yeah,
because that's what I do with these big movies. Because I love John Carter. I know there'd be people out there be like, oh, blah, this. Like, no, for what it is, it's pretty damn good.
It's wild. It exists.
Yeah.
It's like the whole Speed Race thing. I'm thankful this exists.
Yeah, it exists. You could go to it and you could share it with anybody. It's like, this is real. This is awesome.
Yeah. Because I was watching it. It's like within the first 10 minutes, I'm like, it's like Western, but then it's like it's Dune, and then it's like it's kind of Avatar, and then it's Star Wars. And I mean, I know the whole because I remember seeing the trailer because I hadn't even heard of it. Because I remember they had the I think it was My Body's a Cage trailer. I remember that played in front of something, and they're talking about like. It was kind of like the Watchmen thing. They're saying like, oh, the most important story of comic book story of all time. And they're saying like, oh, the story that inspired everything.
Yep.
And I remember when it ended, I was like, that looks cool. I'm like, am I supposed to know what that is though? Because I'd never heard of the whole John Carter, like the
same thing here,
books and all that. Yeah. But I mean, it's like, I love that the studio got behind that and put those kind of finances in making something like this.
Yep. And back then, like me and my mom saw it twice because we saw it the first time in 3D. And we thought the movie was beautiful. We thought that the 3D glasses hindered all that because if you were talking about saturations and stuff like that, I love like the landscapes, those wide shots, the oranges, the blues, and all that stuff. It's like the 3D glasses were hindering us. So we saw it like at a different day because we're like, okay, ditch the 3D glasses, go see it regular, so we could really appreciate all those colors. And oh man, we loved it.
Yeah. No, it's. I was saying because I love the 3D stuff, and I've always been going back and getting those as almost like it's almost like memories because I remember seeing all these movies back then in 3D, and it's like I haven't watched them since then. Because I have a nice like projector thing that is a 3D, and it's just my favorite way to watch stuff at home if I can. I mean, obviously not everything has that. And some 3D releases are better than others. This one, it was a post conversion on that one, and it looks solid. It's not like going to look like Gravity or something like that.
Because the reason why they did that is because by the time they would film it, all that 3D technology they prepped for would have been outdated. So they're just like, we'll do post conversion.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones. It wasn't like there was that time for Clash of Titans where they rushed it. Yeah.
Oh man, what an era! Damn it, I missed that era.
You know what they did do though? I saw it this way. I saw the new Scream they did in 3D, and I was like, I just want to see what that looks like.
They did Scream in 3D.
The new one, the New York one. Yeah, I don't know how wide a release it was. I mean, it looked like the depth and stuff looked good.
Because like they didn't shoot it for it. Yeah, because That's awesome. I didn't know that existed, but just thinking about it, like when they're on that freaking like that ladder, that would have been a great scene. Because I think even the camera does that. Oh, bro, come on!
But it's strange because they didn't shoot it. I mean, or maybe they did. I don't know if they shot it thinking for 3D because there was that era where they would make like My Bloody Valentine and like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D where it was just
there. I've seen those.
Where it was just like throwing stuff out the audience, like during the center of the earth and.
The only 3D shot in the Texas Chainsaw is when he throws it at the screen. That's like the only cool 3D shot.
There was like the other one, the one with like Michael Caine riding the bumblebees. I didn't see the movie, but I just remember that in the trailers.
Michael Caine.
I always see it in like it was,
Journey.
Yeah. Okay, that one.
Yeah, Journey 2, I believe.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. I always thought it was fun. I always think like animated stuff particularly. I was actually bummed they didn't release the new Spider-Verse in 3D because the last one in 3D was like I would call like Avatar level insane. In 3D. But it was almost like it was like because one of those things I was nervous to see in 3D because it was like I'm like I could see this being too much, but it works.
Yeah,
it really works. I was really bummed they didn't release this new one like that because
it
looks so it meshed so cool.
Yeah. I think it would just be so difficult because they probably just finished it under the wire because they said they took 4 years to animate just that one chase scene with all those characters. That's crazy. Well,
I mean, the work paid off. I mean, I think that movie looked insane.
Like like that movie was great. Yeah,
yeah. It's crazy how much they. Because I remember when it started at first. Actually, I don't know how much I want to spoil about it because I'm not sure how many people are watching. But
I think anyone who watches my show has already seen it 3 times. They've seen it 3 times.
I thought there was something wrong with the color at first when they're in the whole Gwen Stacy pastel world.
Yeah,
and I was like, wait a minute, no, this is just the style because we're in this different. Universe. It took me like a minute to connect that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I love this. Great.
Yeah, because it's like almost on a level like almost like Fantasia, where it's just like playing with the colors just to affect your mood and all that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that you can't really do in live action. Because I was just talking about this with my friend Sarah about like a silly example, but Land Before Time, where it's like there's some things with animation that you could only do with like hand-drawn animation. Like you could tell the same story Land Before Time with the 3D, it wouldn't be the same.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to do that.
I know. I'm like, just take the audio from the original one and just redo it. Just redo it.
I'm not saying I want to see that, but there's some traumatic stuff in that movie from my childhood. No Land Before Time spoilers. But yeah, that was another VHS I watched a lot. That's another one. I'm like, I'll be curious. I'm like, oh, I wonder how this, like, how that animation looks nowadays.
Yeah,
I know they made like a 7 gazillion sequels.
Oh yeah. Like one of my crazy pitches for like a live action movie that I wish they'll do, but I know they won't because it's like bottom scraping, like below the barrel would be like a live action rescuers movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's kind of people say I'm not the target audience for these live action movies, but
I like Cruella. That was awesome. I like Cruella.
Yeah, that one I still haven't seen.
Out of all of them, that's like the best one.
Yeah, because it was the Tanya director, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know about that until later on. I was like, oh
yeah, it's during that COVID time too.
Yeah, I'm still a little wary about going into theaters back then.
Yeah. I was still like I was sneaking to Pennsylvania to watch movies because they still had theaters open.
Oh, gotcha.
That's how I saw Tenet. I saw Tenet there, and I was lucky enough to see Unhinged on the big screen.
Oh boy,
I love that movie, Unhinged. Damn it!
Yeah.
I want to do a whole episode on that movie just because I want to talk about all the details.
Yeah,
I like Russell Crowe's new era of movies where he's just doing like these like B roles, like B movies. I'm like, that's awesome. Forget the Oscar-winning thing. Just do all these like Pope's Exorcist, Unhinged, more of that.
Yeah, I remember there was some trailer they did for Unhinged I remember seeing where it was just him just narrating. It's like, I'm in this new movie. It's called Unhinged, and it's just like it was awesome. Like, yeah, I'm like, these are the kind of things I'd love to see more of.
Yeah, they haven't done that, but I remember during COVID they were doing all this creative shit because that was the one where he like was sitting next to the truck and then he had like the Maximus Gladiator mask. And he was doing like the voice, like I am Maximus Gladiator, and he's like, I'm Russell Crowe.
Yeah, is he in the new one that they're about to start doing? Or assuming it, or no? Spoilers for Gladiator. What am I saying?
I don't think so. I think it's like a Mad Max thing. I think they're doing something else.
Oh, it's like a prequel. I just haven't looked into it enough. And it's been a while since I've seen Gladiator.
Yeah, it's been years for me. I don't think I've seen Gladiator since like high school. Like that's like a long time ago.
But no, I love that. That's an era I love going back and like watching. That's sort of that era of like the sort of, I think Lord of the Rings kind of started like the sort of historical epic thing, like with like your Kingdom of Heavens and a lot of this Ridley Scott stuff, like even Troy, I'm like, it's like,
dude, I love
that movie feels huge. Like,
yeah. I like when I was watching it like a few years ago, I was like, oh, I get it. It finally clicked in my head. I'm like, this is like old, like it is like doing the Cecil B. DeMille epics in the modern era. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. I love Troy. I have never seen the director's cut. Wait, hang on, I might have, because they changed the music for that one scene, and I didn't like the music change because I liked the original where it's like.
I don't know if I ever saw the director's cut of it. I just remember back when it came out, I was like one of the people who's like, I think this is cool. I don't know what everyone's complaining about.
I love Troy. I love Troy. That's one of my favorites.
That was there was that movie. I was trying to think of like when I first started like really watching trailers, like kind of like kind of learning, not realizing I was like kind of teaching myself stuff by just watching stuff again and again. It was Two Towers was the first one that was like the first trailer I remember, because it was around the time we finally got like not dial-up internet, and I could just like go and I just watch this and like kind of like see how they cut it and stuff. And then that whole 2003 after, just with like the Matrix sequel trailers, and like Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was around then was when like I started. I would just go to Apple trailers like every day and see like what's new. Like I want to see what else there is, because otherwise I could only see them on like VHS in theaters, which was always great. But
I think for me, I was like a latecomer to I don't know, I think I was a latecomer to like trailers, but I think it was because when I finally started getting DVDs, all the special features would just be trailers. So I would go back and watch this. So that's why I'm obsessed with doing like the Lethal Weapon trailers. And like those narration ones, because I would just watch all those all the time, because that was all they had on the special features. I love that stuff.
I remember. I think it was one of the first DVDs I ever got was the first Raimi Spider-Man. I remember it had all the trailers and like every single TV spot, like every single one. There's like so 40 of them, and I'm like, I just watched all of them, and it was like, oh, it's cool how like they use this line and this one and this way, and it's sweet.
Speaking of big trailers, the Dark Knight ones were huge. Those were events, and each one was better than the last. Like I remember that teaser, it was just like all just quotes black, and then it was like the bat signal, and then like people will die starting tonight. I'm a man of my word, and then that laughing. Oh my God,
that was like I remember that one. That was like a year before it came out. Because that's kind of like seems like the Nolan thing. He always does like the teaser like a year before, and then I always love that. It's like I remember there was one where it was like 1 year from now. I think it might have been Interstellar or something. I was like, it's so
it was.
Cool. No, it's rad. I love how he does that rollout. But the Dark Knight was big, because I remember seeing that, because it was another thing that was exclusive. I think it was in front of I Am Legend. They had the trailer, and I remember seeing a leaked image from it, and I was like, oh no, it's spoiled for me. I know what the Joker looks like now. But then when it was in the theater, I was like, oh, it didn't matter. It just felt awesome.
Because they did that viral marketing back then, where it was like people had to find things in the website. And then when they solved it, it would form the Joker face of him in the dark. I
remember there was one. Anymore. There was I'm trying to remember the last time that something like that happened. It's such a cool idea. There was one, I think it was for the Rises, where they had like a thing where people had to go find like geo spots or something. I can't remember the term, and every time one was found, they'd release like a frame from the trailer, and it would just slowly build the whole thing. And then eventually they just released it when it was completed. And it was just people like new frames, or this new shot was found. And I'm like, oh, I would love more stuff like that to happen nowadays.
They haven't really done that. Because I remember for Rises, I remember they even like dropped or like leaked on the website that dishy pasha. It was it was like that 10-second audio clip. I was like, oh my God, what is this?
I remember I was more in like the forums and stuff back then, and being like, what are all the theories? I mean, I stopped trying to do the whole theory thing, because I kind of realized after a while, I'm like, this is just messing up my expectations. Regardless of how I feel. So I just prefer to just be like, I don't trust any rumors or anything until I see it there in front of me. It's just it feels more satisfying that way. That is me. It's like I've nothing against people who like theorize. Theorizing's fun. It's just for my thing. Someone who watches way too much stuff.
I tried to do that. Like I of course did the trailer breakdown for fun for my friend Luke. Because for Luke, I'm trying to try to get him back to the good side. I'm like, I feel like I'm like the positive dark side. I'm like, come on, be positive. Because he's like, no, it has to be this. I'm like, no, those are your expectations. Accept it for what it is.
No, exactly. I always try to look at it like that. It's like, it's just, here's just 2 hours of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, just enjoy the thing, you know.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, and I also want to talk about this because I thought it was such a huge coincidence because I remember you mentioned it once. I was like, oh my God. Because how was this possible? But like one of my all-time favorite trailers is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, and then yours was like the original one, the Texas Chainsaw 2003.
Yeah, that one. That was one of those ones back in like the days where I was watching just a million. I was watching Apple trailers every day when that dropped. Yeah. I hadn't like I'd heard Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I hadn't seen the original. I just watched that. It just what it felt like.
Yeah,
and there's so much cool stuff in that trailer. Like I love the bit in the middle where it stops down and it's black when she's hiding in the closet and you hear him walk from one side to the other. Like, yeah, that was cut by a guy, a very famous trailer editor named Bill Neal, and he's like the horror guy.
Oh man!
Like name a big horror movie in the last like he works at an agency called Buddha Jones. Like I don't think I've ever met him in person. I've seen him at events before from afar. And I just had that chance to talk to him. But he cuts he cut like It, Halloween, all that.
Those are
like the new stuff.
Yeah, I fucking love horror trailers because I feel like those are like the ones that like really go hog wild with the editing. Because everything else is like pretty typical, but like the horror ones, they're messing with the sound effects or going choo choo choo, and like just plays with it. Oh my God.
Yeah, like the Evil Dead ones recently. I can't remember if those were him or not, but off the top of my head, but though just in terms of like playful sound design and stuff, that stuff, that's the kind of stuff. If I have the time to do, I always love to try to work.
Yeah. Because there's like some trailer because like I was like really fun because I try to avoid trailers unless it's like something like Halloween Kills where it's like I don't care about spoilers because it's Halloween. But like I remember the Halloween TV spots were so like awesome. Like I love them. No matter what people think of the movie, but like those TV spots were so incredible because it was just like we have a man down. And he's wearing a white mask and he's just coming out of that burning house. I was like, I love those trailers for horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, the whole sort of thing you were just mentioned briefly there, like the whole try to avoid trailers. My whole thing is that if I find myself like somehow I haven't seen the trailer for this yet, I take that as a sign like, you know what, I know I'm going to see this. I'm just going to try to avoid it.
Yeah,
because there was a time where I was like hardcore, like purposely arriving movies late. I would just like listen to loud music on my headphones, like while trailers were playing, or. Yeah, and it just became exhausting after a while.
Yeah,
it was like, especially with like with Twitter and like pop-up ads, and I just start seeing stuff. And it's kind of feels impossible at one point.
Yeah, with someone. Because I think the last one I was like actively trying to avoid spoilers. I think it might have been maybe it's more recent, but I think the one where I was trying to avoid it was Halloween Ends. Because I didn't want to see I didn't want to see how it ended. Which is weird because I just said Halloween Kills is like show me everything, but like Halloween Ends, like I was trying to avoid that. Like I don't know, I don't want to see it. I don't want to figure it out. And then the other thing was I think Prometheus, where it was like I don't want to see anything.
Yeah, that was one. It's funny because it's not even spoilers. It's like it's also just sort of the editor brain where it's like if I see like a striking image, I will remember that image and I'll be watching the movie and be like, why hasn't that image happened yet?
Yes.
Is that the end? Is that the beginning? Because I remember the one time that really got ruined for me. I remember it was actually Dark Knight. Where they have, I think it's okay to spoil Dark Knight. And this, the act, it's not the axe one.
Oh, okay.
It was, but that's it. Kind of follows the same point. So, like we know when Commissioner Gordon like fake dies in the middle of it, like an hour in or whatever. I was like, wait, but that shot with the big explosion in front of him hasn't happened yet. That's a very expensive thing. They wouldn't just make that. So, like, and I just can never turn off that part of my brain. So I'm always like, because it's also just cool to like not know what certain set pieces like or not know what that is. And that's a cool thing I feel lucky about with what I get to do for work. Yeah. Is that I get to see a lot of things without any of that kind of context.
Yeah.
Right. But that also builds a challenge at the same time. It's like, what are the sellable things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think they did a good job with Maverick because when you think Maverick dies, I was like, holy shit, we've seen all the, like I had the editor mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, we've seen all the clips of Tom Cruise. Like this fucker dies. This fucker dies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's man, that one was wild. Love that movie.
Yeah. So, like, do you actively try to avoid spoilers when you make yours, or?
Oh, wait. Oh, like spoil? You mean as in like trying to hide like?
Yeah, like towards the end, or like
I mean, we always like we always want to make the trailer that spoils at least like that. There's no editor who's going out there trying to be like I need to want to put those spoiler in this. Like that's just not how it works. Like it's just whenever you see stuff like that where it's like it feels like they went too far. That's just something that just comes down just for like from the marketing people.
Yeah,
like it's something that's usually out of the control of the editors.
Okay.
So like when people are like, oh, this trailer is spoiled too much, blame the editor. I'm like, don't blame the editor. Like there's so much going on that's completely out of their control. It's like, because you're ultimately, it's not them making the thing, you're making it for a studio. You're making it for a client. So
yeah. Because I was thinking like also like it's another weird question, but like when you make them, is there like shots that you have that are not in the final movie, or like do you have like
it depends. I mean, it depends on how early we get the movie, because when I work on stuff, it's at all sorts of variables of the timeline where it's like sometimes it's like, I mean, because our shop tends to like, focus on a lot of like award movies and a lot of like independent. So usually a lot of our projects, like, Sundance happens, you usually get a couple things from and like, so the movie's done. Like we just have a finished movie to work with. But other times we get early cuts, like where they're still working on it, the effects aren't done. And there have been even other times where it's like they're shooting the movie right now and we're just getting dailies. And we only work from dailies, which adds quite a challenge when cutting a trailer just from dailies on something. But it also, it's also a creative challenge at the same time. You never know what ideas that can conjure up. But yeah, it's all points. And sometimes, you're working with a version of a movie where it's like they still haven't like finalized it, and you make the trailer and they release the trailer and then they change the movie after that. Like, it's it's something that it's never something that's intended to do, or that we intend to like, we're trying to purposely show you stuff that's not in there. I mean, except I didn't work on this movie, but there was I remember the whole sort of issue there was that one Avengers trailer where they had the big VFX shot of everyone running, and like I think you saw like Hulk or something, and Hulk wasn't there at the end. It was, I can't remember exactly, but it was something like that. But I mean, I know with those movies they get very particular about what they show and what they don't.
For those Marvel ones, because like the Spider-Man one specifically, where it's like there's like 3 villains like going at different points. It's like
they're jumping at nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think there are other people they're jumping at there.
It's like there's totally going to be like 2 other Spider-Men that I've seen. And what do you call it? They're like that with the new Flash trailer too, because like Zod like puts out his like sword and there's like nothing there. I'm like, someone's standing there. I don't know who it is.
Maybe I'm not sure. So I know. I don't know. I honestly don't know anything. So
I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying there's like scenes that you could tell that somebody was digitally removed. I'm not trying to get anything out of you. Now, why'd you burn the tapes? Why'd you do Watergate?
No. People always tell you I'm like about that kind of stuff. I'm like the most annoyingly tight-lipped person ever. So. I take all that very, very seriously. So
I'm not trying to get
no. I know you're not.
Because I remember you were giving me all these things like okay, yep, no white chocolate, no fudge, we're good.
No, I mean that's just the thing. Like I last podcast I did, I had to say stuff like that before and all that. So it's just a formality.
Definitely. Because
I trust you're a good guy. So
I try because I try to be positive because
of course.
Honestly, because like a few I'll just talk about it because I know I've always talked about it. I would like to talk about it though. But like in 2013 when Man of Steel came out, I was crapping on that movie so bad. And then I remember my friend Stu was like, you complained about it enough, or like you thought about it more than Zack Snyder. I was like, okay, I need to change. I need to like look at it from a different point of view, which completely altered it. And now I freaking love the movies. I have them displayed right here. The whole thing.
I mean, the mentality I always try to have is that movies are really, 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 really hard to make.
Yes,
they're really hard to make.
Yes.
I mean,
it's a miracle that they work at all.
And I haven't been on any kind of physical set like for work since film school, and even like making shorts like that and stuff was like it was so like taxing, and it's so like, and it's like when you see a movie, just everyone just immediately crafts on it's like this, like it's like it's a you can think about what you want, but it's just I always try to think first like just how long and hard you have to work to make anything. Like, So I always try to view it through that lens first. And I don't know, it just helps my mood. So
definitely, because like there was like the kind of recently is that Ready Player One, but I was like watching the end of the movie, and I had an out of body experience where I was like thinking about how they were making it. Like, holy hell, there's like Spielberg has to really sell that. Okay, this is happening in the real world. This is the video game. This is going on here. This is going on here. It's like 5 different things going on, and he has to sell it and somehow make it work. And it's a miracle that it's you're able to understand what the hell is going on, because it's so like virtual and fake. And what's real, what's not. That's one of the positive things about that movie. It's like he did it. I don't know how he did it, but Spielberg did it. It's like it's crazy.
I remember seeing that and not knowing at all about the Shining sequence. not knowing at all. Like I had no idea.
God.
And like The Shining's like, you know, in contention. I don't even really have like an all-time favorite movie anymore. It's like it's always changing. But like, you know, if I were to like average it out in my life, The Shining would probably be it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember just sitting there and just in the theater, and I'm like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. And then just that I see the carpet. They're in the like sort of the big open room, you know, that Jack that chases Wendy up the stairs and all that. And you hear the music and like it's got like the right grain and it looks really cool. And I was like, what? Because I remember in the book that wasn't a thing in the book, so it was a complete surprise.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. And that like there's like little things that I have ideas like because I love Last Action Hero and I've been dying for movies to do that where you just jump into another movie, and that was like one of the things that scratched my itch that I've been wanting to see for years, where it's like characters jumping into a different movie and experiencing it. I was like, this is amazing. Damn it.
Yeah.
I wish they would do that. Oh my God.
Yeah, man. Now you got me wanting to watch Last Action Hero again. That movie.
Because there's like I love Last Action Hero. That's one of those VHSs I watch it all the time. I don't know. Did you ever have that?
I didn't see it for the first time until I think whenever they had that recent release of it, because that was a big like blind spot for me.
Really?
I think I watched that. I think it was still like lockdowny COVID times. So I think that's when I watched it. And,
because I think it came out then. Fun. Yeah.
So
it was that new 4K, which is probably the best looking one. Oh my God.
No, it looked unreal, and because it was McTiernan, right?
Yep, McTiernan.
Yeah.
That was one of those. That was one of those first gateway movies for me, because I remember looking at the back of the box and just seeing all these names like Shane Black, John McTiernan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and just I find it funny that I was like 5 years old and I knew how to spell like Schwarzenegger, but I couldn't like spell other words or whatever. But
I don't even know if I can off the top of my head. I think I'm sure I'd mess it up.
Yeah. Because like there's some like weird word. I think there's like an E and N that like you have to figure out where it goes. But like, man, that was one of those gateway movies. It's like I love this. Who else did he work with? James Cameron. Okay, I'm gonna go to watch James Cameron. True Lies. They all worked on this. Oh man. Oof.
Yeah. What a time.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm waiting for the day for like a movie where they just jump from movie to movie. Like I always picture like that scene in Monsters Inc. when they're going through the doors. I want a sequence like that where you just jump from one movie to movie.
I was about to say, like, I mean, like sort of this, you know, multiversification that's kind of happening in Hollywood right now. It's like they're kind of doing that, at least like with Spider-Man stuff. And it's not as overt as like Last Action Hero, but I'm sure we're not far away from that.
I know they messed it up though. It was because I remember they were talking about that for Space Jam. I was like, oh shit, are they actually going to do? Because like I love Warner Brothers. Like I've been wearing that hat. I don't have I have a Warner Brothers hat, but I love Warner Brothers because they have such a huge freaking library of like history of cinema. And I always remember on VHSs where it had like the dun, 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 and they had like the Martin Short comedy where he's jumping onto the car, and then I had like Jack Nicholson and the Batman, and I had like the 75th anniversary, I think, is that little commercial.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember that one, but like I love that one. But it's just like I want to see that in a movie, and I thought, oh, Space Jam's going to do it because they have this library, and they kind of like dropped the ball, and it was like a 4 minute, maybe 3 minute sequence. I was like, damn it. They screwed it up because it was like Lola Bunny and in the Wonder Woman world, and then they had like Coyote in the Mad Max world, and I think there was like another one where they went to a different world. But it's like, man, they're screwing it up.
I haven't seen it, so I can't.
It's bad. It's bad. Okay. I'll say it's bad. You don't have to say it's bad.
I didn't see it. I was never, you know, it's funny. Maybe it might be a sports thing. Space Jam was never quite a big thing for me. It was another one. I mean, I remember seeing it. I vividly remember seeing it, but like it wasn't like a big movie for me.
It was one of those ones I had to go to my cousin's house to watch it because my mom was not having it. She's like, so I had to see it there. But yeah. The original one I like to a certain extent. I don't want to say I love it, but I do like it to a certain extent. But like the new one was just like, oh my god, how do you fumble the ball so bad to something so simple?
Well,
yeah,
is what it is.
Well, that is. Okay, so I think we've gone on for like an hour 30 minutes, so that's a good time. Yeah, so
kind of lost my internal clock for a while. So
yeah. So is there any like you things like we've missed, or do you want to?
I don't know. I feel like we touched on a lot. Like we talked about all the fans trailer stuff, which is like, you know, it's just, you know, I always try to keep an eye out for stuff constantly. And, you know, like I've said earlier, it's like, it's just these, you know, I think what I hope for a lot of people can do is, you know, go for ideas that aren't just like X movie, X trailer style. Like, you know, take something that's, you know, especially something that's like, there hasn't been a lot of fan trailers made for it, let's say. Like take like a random movie you love. Like I remember doing one. Because I started doing some fan stuff in the middle of COVID, and because I did like there's an AI trailer I did. I started doing a bunch of others. Like I was like, oh, I always tried to do one for All That Jazz, but it wasn't quite working.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
Yeah, it's just it's more the reason I didn't finish them because it's just I'm already doing that all day. I was just stuck at home.
Yeah,
it was just, and the only other thing I got, I made that Lord of the Rings thing. That was the last thing I uploaded.
Yeah, the 20th anniversary video.
Yeah, because that was like another thing. It was almost like, the one you're talking, like the Captain America thing, was just like, it's got to get out of my system. It's just it's been in here forever, and I just have to like make something at some point. And I was like, I remember there. I was like, I finally had the time to just sit down and make at least one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just think just try to bring your own viewpoint to it. Try like I don't know, but I know we also the whole YouTube algorithm now is something that's not as friendly to this kind of content. Yeah. Nowadays, like it's all about uploading daily and making things like 15 minutes long so there's better ad revenue. Or, I don't. These are just things I've like heard from like different people I follow. Yeah. But it's just and every thumbnail needs to have the Home Alone face on it for some reason. Like that's the thing. I remember I've joked of like, should I go back to my old videos and just put a picture of my face in the thumbnail and maybe they'll get more views now. But,
oh my god! And the just big giant block print.
Like, it's like, yeah, it's just like I'll put like a like something like the I was thinking about the Paul Thomas Anderson one. It's like make it like it's like he wants whose milkshake? I don't know. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I have very mixed feelings about this whole YouTube.
It's just
right
it's
now.
It's tougher. It's definitely tougher to do that.
Yeah,
because
but I still get the ideas.
Always. Yeah. Oh man, like because you're like you even had that friend who did that awesome trailer. I love it. It's like it's burned in my memory. It's like all I have now is my memory. Matt Shapiro, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He did that. Yeah. He did the infamous Terminator break on through to the other side.
Yeah.
And I love that damn video. And I know it's offline because like the copyright music or whatever. Because like
that's the other hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah, the copyright.
Luckily
mine's still afloat. I'm surprised after all these years.
Same here, because I've used like trailers that have like all that music and whatnot. And some of them are still up. Some are. I don't think most. I'm shocked at how much is still up on my channel just because of how much stuff I've used. I think like the only thing that's like blocked that I know of or I'm aware of is like how much longer does the program need? The final program, part 3, the big giant movie. Where it's like that's blocked. That's definitely blocked.
Yeah.
But the other ones are still up shockingly. I don't know how.
Yeah. Like I feel like if I ever like made more stuff, I would just have to like I'd also have to make a rough cut and then upload that and see what happens. It'd be like because I'm like, oh, do I put the work in if I can't? I mean, I'd put on like Vimeo or something instead. But like,
I think I literally
because I'm not making any money off this. This is all just for fun.
Same here.
Yeah.
And I'm just letting you know, Joel. I literally do that with every freaking mashup I do. Where it's like I upload it to see if it's posted because I remember I had to fight for that the Bruce Willis Dark Knight Returns, the one with the car in the beginning. Like I remember that being uploaded and being blocked. I was like, and then I had to fight for it. And then by the time it was ready to go up, I think it was, it was finally approved. Like, okay, it's okay. I was like, oh, thank God. But I remember like, oh my God, I just like I did all this advertising like July 4th. And then when I was testing it out, I was like blocked. I was like, no. But luckily it worked out. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I wish there was more people out there who did like original ideas and crazy ideas. Like go out there, use your favorite actor.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's like, it's ultimately not completely an original idea because we're working with stuff that's, we didn't make, but it's just, just doing something that's like more than just like, oh, here's a trailer for this or like here, or if you do that, obviously just try to do, some kind of crazy thing. I'm always like, if I was making more stuff today, I'd want to make more trailers like the ones that, that aren't like the trailers I'm seeing. Something like, because with the AI thing, I remember I did the whole, I ended up unlisting it because I kind of felt, because it had like that flashing thing. I'm like, oh, you probably shouldn't upload that. But I was like, I just want to play with that just as like an editing thing. Yeah. But it's unlisted. If you go to my site, you can still see it there if you choose.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just for playing with stuff like that more often.
Yeah. I'm actually going to see if it's right there. Where is it? Is it projects?
I think so. Yeah, probably.
There it is. Yep, I'll watch it afterwards. I got it all ready. Okay.
Yep. I put a little warning in front of it, but apparently, there was a couple of people who commented, and they apparently thought it wasn't enough. So I was like, okay. And that was the reason I listed it because I'm like, it's true. I probably should have
Yeah, that's what I had to think of. I had to think about that for the freaking Kristen Stewart project, because there was like some things I was like, okay, this I definitely have to put like a red band and like say there's going to be some nudity in this, and it is content. And then I had to like put that little like the flagged for like adult content or whatever.
Right.
I had to do it because I was like, because there's people on my channel who's crazy enough that they're still subscribed for the YouTube poops. Crazy. It's been like 10 years and they're still expecting some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did you ever watch that stuff or no? I don't know.
Oh, I remember seeing like I remember back in the day there was like a Little Mermaid one. I remember you did. There were a couple. I think was it Toy Story?
Yeah, but I did a Toy Story one.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, I think I was trying to think the first thing I ever saw from you, or that I knew was you.
Yeah.
I think the first one, I don't know if it's the earliest one, but I remember the Close Encounters Daft Punk thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was really rad because the way you cut it and like how it matches the music. I watched it a couple times. Like I thought,
because remember when you mentioned that, I was like, God damn, that's like early Frank editing days. Like that was before Chief Brody Rules and all that. That was crazy. Oh my God, losing all my crap overnight. That was insane.
Oh yeah. I've heard that story from people.
Yeah. Cause I was like literally going up. I would have probably been like huger than I am now, but like, oh my God, I lost like, cause I did that little Lady Gaga with Cartman poker face.
Right.
That got a strike. And then the one that went viral, and I think it was because it went viral, I got a copyright strike, but I did Planet of the Dinosaurs to the William Tell overture because it was just people running back and forth. So it was like, and I was sort of inspired by that Clockwork Orange trailer when I did that. And then it got taken down. My channel was like, oh no.
Oh, it's a bummer.
Yeah. Because there was like some trailers that got shared by like directly. Like I think Edgar Wright shared my I think he shared the one where I noticed the music in the Scott Pilgrim sounded like the Warriors. So I put the soundtrack from Scott Pilgrim to the Warriors.
That's cool.
Yeah. I forget what the track was, but it's like literally like the Baseball Furies. Like it's that music. And it was in Scott Pilgrim. I was like, damn, that's awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's funny. That's almost one thing that almost makes me not want to upload stuff to my channel. Because I'm like, I just want to just stay there, you know. Because I'm afraid of like I'd upload something and then it just because I know I think I've like one strike, maybe two. I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
I don't follow that really closely. But I'm like almost like I'm like just want to leave it just so it's there. It's like a relic over time until unless YouTube dies someday. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm luckily I have not gotten any strikes on my channel. I don't know how. But that's crazy. What was the other thing I was just thinking of? We just talked about it. Oh, damn. Oh, yeah. For advice for people, editors watching this, because I'm sure there's people who know Joel Walden and whatnot. But like my advice to editors out there is like, even if you have like an original idea, somehow like maybe sometimes you could work it with an IP because my Godzilla trailer was not supposed to be a Godzilla trailer. That is like me going for like a kaiju trailer. But I knew I'd get those comments like, oh, this is Godzilla. That's Godzilla. I'm like, just put Godzilla on it. And then move past it.
Yeah.
Because like my whole idea, I had that idea since like when I was editing in 2007 on my little mashup. I was like, I have this idea. I want to do this kaiju monster movie where it's like Syriana or Traffic, where it's like all these people around the world have to figure out and like the storylines cross over. And that was the idea. But then like, I got to throw in Godzilla. I got to say his name. Get it out of the way.
You get it in there. Yeah. You know, give the people what they want. Yeah. No, I get that completely.
Yeah.
I get that. But I don't know, at least in the last couple years, whenever I've made anything, I mean, it's only been like a small handful of times. My whole mantra is like, I just want to make it because it's just this idea in my head. It's like, I have to get it.
You just got to get it out.
I just got to get it out. I got to get it out. And it's like, I just have enough time right now. And I'm just going to make it. And, you know, and like, it kind of, you know, it amps me up. Like it, you know, it's I don't know. It feels good.
Yeah, because sometimes you just got to get that out or just revive it. Because I remember, I think one of the reasons I don't know if I've ever really fully explained it, but like the reason why for like the last 2-3 years I haven't done anything is because for work I was editing at work, doing PSAs for COVID and messages, and like I didn't want to edit when I got home. I was like, I'm done. I'm tired.
No, it's been the same thing with me. It's just, you know, just the editing all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it. I still love it. And I'm fortunate that I get to do it. It's just, it's, you know, when I have my own ideas inside, when it's like Saturday, I'm like, I'm going to start making this thing. And I start doing it. I'm like, especially now, cause I work from home most of the time now anyway. It's like, I'm like, oh, I'm at the exact same desk doing the same thing. So like, I mean, again, like I just get these ideas all the time. There was even a point where this was like a summer or two ago. I was thinking like, oh man, what if I just brought the works back one more time? And like I made, and I thought, and I was like, what if I was like almost like made a document like almost like a Kevin Feige style, like it would be like these 6, and I'd make them all over like a year, and then I'd release them like once every 2 weeks. It's like and then I started making one, the Wachowski one, and I'm like, I don't have the energy for this. I'm sorry. I don't. As much as I love this, it's like as much as I'd love to do that, like maybe I'd love to do like a Lynch one someday. Or
my god,
I don't know where to start for that.
I played with that idea. I wanted to do a David Lynch one during COVID.
Yeah,
because I remember I bought all those movies. Right, I even made like little Photoshop memes where it was like him as Thanos. Like I was planning to do a freaking tribute to him.
Yeah,
and like I had like the ideas. I had just rewatched all the movies. I was like in the middle of copying Twin Peaks, but like I was so exhausted at work from editing, so I never had the chance to do that. But like that's in the that's in the tank somewhere.
Yeah, I've attempted a couple David Lynch things like for fun. I remember I when The Return was airing, I was starting to take whenever an episode came out, I would just put it into my editing software and I would just start selecting something, trying to think of ideas. I'm like, and I make something and I release the night of the finale. But then I got busy and it didn't catch on. And I was like, I'm way too behind now, even though I had like 14 weeks or however long that show went on for. And I remember there was a Wild at Heart trailer I started.
That's right.
I released like the first like 30 seconds. I'm like, this works, but everything else after wasn't quite.
Yeah, because then you also made those porg videos with.
I had a Star Wars idea then too around Last Jedi, and I had them both in my editing software at the same time, and I was just like, when I was stuck on something, I was just like, I'm just gonna mash Wild at Heart and Star Wars for some reason.
That was so good.
I'm sure Ryan Johnson would find that funny. There was and I guess the one that did come out, the one David Lynch thing ended up releasing was that Mulholland Dunk thing I did. Did you remember that?
Oh, I remember that. Yes. Mulholland Dunk. Yep.
Because that was the whole, because there was that the whole reason I made it was there's that Twitter account that was like the Daily Dunkachino, and they would just release daily edits of the Dunkachino thing, and I'm like, this is like reminds me of like the old days of like fan edits, like that like Watchmen trailer contest I talked about before. Yeah. Like I'm like, I want to do something, and I was I was trying to think of ideas, and I guess I was rewatching Mulholland Drive, and I was thinking, isn't that's like that coffee shop? I mean, the coloring is kind of similar enough. What if it's a Dunkin' they're in? And then it just turns into a nightmare. And then I remember that it was election week 2020, and I was like, I just need to not look at my phone, not look at the TV. And so like at the end of the workday, I would just like put it in a drawer, close the curtains, and just like work on that, and just like just to distract myself and put my my nerves about everything just into that cut. So, and I'm glad that turned out the way it did. It's a little silly, but it's very fun.
Silly stuff is good.
Yeah, because I remember someone uploaded it like from the Dunkachino thing, and they're like, "Oh, here it is with all the splits." I'm like, "Where did you find this?" Like, I'm like where? Like that's incredible. But yeah, that was a fun one to put together. I mean, and never say never for maybe making something else. But
yeah,
I have ideas. Like like I'll randomly like rip a Blu-ray of something when I get an idea. I'm like, I'm just gonna put this on my computer, like just in case. And there's like a folder of like a couple dozen things where I haven't done anything. But maybe someday. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm kind of crossing my fingers for this Flash movie to inspire me.
Yeah, I mean, it looks a lot of fun, and it's cool to see it like really like the theorizing and stuff, and because I haven't done that for a movie in a long time. I mean, there's a reason I don't, but like, but it's just a part of me is like, man, I miss having that feeling a little bit.
Yeah, because I think after a while I had to stop that, but like this is just for fun, and just because like the reason why I'm so stoked about it is because like I really feel like if it's goofy enough and if it has the right clips, like it could bring back how much longer does the program need for like one more ride, more ride, just like one more ride.
Do it.
And like if I do that, I want to rewatch Twin Peaks because I remember that even inspired me because I was like, geez, I could do like. Because I feel like that's sort of like the first multiverse kind of craziness with that Twin Peaks thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like alternate realities, and because like at the end he goes to the alternate timeline.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. I mean, there was that long time where people thought another scene would maybe happen, but we'll see. I mean, I've always said, if this is the end, I mean, it's a hell of a lot more closure than we got in 1991.
How's Annie?
Yeah. It's like that's pretty significant closure considering it's David Lynch. So
yes. And speaking of Lynch, I think we'll close on this. The reason why Lynch is in the thumbnail is because I think both me and you were like DMing when he says, "Can you believe it?"
Yes.
And we're like, "Oh my god, is it happening?
Is it happening?" The Can movie. I remember thinking immediately. I'm like, he has a movie. I want to work on this. What? But then it was just a fake dumb rumor. And I mean, it was fun. That was a fun week or two when people thought it was actually going to happen, because he had one of his daily weather reports where he was like, "No, there is no Can movie." I can't remember how he said it, but it was,
yeah. Like, there is no Can movie. I have no film. And it's like, no, he does.
It would be nice to get one more, but you know what? It's so funny because every time I go back to his movies, even if I'm rewatching for like the fourth or fifth time, they're just like, just how they feel. It's like so unique that it's almost, when I come to the different age, it almost feels like a new experience.
Yes.
Like in the last few years, I've been fortunate enough to see a couple of his movies theatrically. Like I got to see Lost Highway a couple months ago in the theater. Saw Inland Empire, which, like, especially what he does sonically, because like depending on how you're watching it, like depending on what setup you have, you don't get that, but just what he does with surround is just so, and especially when you're trapped in a theater, it's just so unsettling. It's like it feels like a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah,
but it's just I love that. I love what he does with that.
Yeah. Lynch is awesome. I love Lynch. Oh my god. And that's the whole reason why the thumbnail exists, because I remember just me and you were like, we're theorizing, like, he said cans in this video. And he's like, "Can you believe it?"
No, I think someone I don't know if I thought that, but I remember someone did make a video of him saying, edit him saying, when he said, "You can't believe it," just making the edit, "Can believe it." Can believe it. And that again, that was a fun week or two on the internet.
Oh my
Everyone
god, I
thought
know
we were getting a new thing. But you know, I've always said this is like, even if this is the last thing, like, we're lucky we got like a crazy, ridiculous budget 18-hour.
That's so awesome.
Last thing. Like, I mean, like, that's pretty. If that's the last thing we ever got from him, that's pretty incredible.
That is pretty incredible. That whole show was incredible.
Yeah,
like that. The mind of him, like how creative he is, and just like how he's like willing to trust you just to interpret it how you want to interpret it, or just how you watch it. Oh, an incredible guy.
Yeah, no, I love him, and would love to see more. Maybe there'll be a David Lynch to work someday, but
one day
we'll see.
I'm hoping for it. Yep. So this has been the show. Thank you, Joel, for joining me. This is really great. Maybe we can come back and talk about a movie at some point, like a future date.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Like, you know, if like The Right Thing comes out like some weekend. Unfortunately, this weekend I haven't had a chance to see anything. But you know, there's more coming out in the future. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Maybe we could talk about the Mission Impossible. I don't know.
That could be cool. Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah. And just to align our schedules, just to let people know, like, I've been like, since I started doing this, I think like in December, I was like, "Joel, get on my show." And our schedules didn't line up until now.
Yeah. I'm just usually not good with the on-camera thing.
Yeah.
I just, it takes me a while to sort of get out of my head about it.
Yeah.
But no, it's been fun. It's the first time doing the live thing. So,
yeah. I'm so much better with live. I don't know what it is. Cause like when I try to do my edited stuff, it takes forever. But this is like, I feel like I'm a duck in water. I don't know if it's like the pressure or what. I don't know.
Yeah. Cause I don't have chat or anything. Is there like much chat at all, or is there?
Oh, usually like, again, like I asked my audience this on Twitter. I'm like, what's the deal? How come no one shows up? And they're like, well, when you have a guest, we know we can't interfere.
Oh, okay.
They don't want because like I think when I had like Luke on, I think me and Luke just ranted for like 3 hours. We hardly looked at the comment section.
Yeah.
And when we did, it wasn't enough. So like I think they just know, like, okay, you're going to be talking to the guest. You don't need our help. We'll come back later to rewatch the recorded one. So they'll come back later for this. So don't worry.
Gotcha. Okay. No. Again, this is my first rodeo. With this
yeah. I'm slowly learning it too, because I remember I was doing a couple episodes. I'm like, where the hell is everybody? I'm like, oh, they like it when I'm single. They know the show up too. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I've rarely been able to get in live on your stuff because I'm,
it's a time because there it's like 3 p.m. there.
Yeah. Usually I'm out somewhere or something.
But yeah, thank you, Joel. Thank you.
Of course, this was so much fun.
Yes. And now I'm going to watch John Carter tonight.
Yes. Do it.
Yes. Do it. Oh, I just thought of Rich Evans. Do it.
Oh,
Catch the crafts.
I think there's a new Wheel of the Worst today. I saw it. Or was it Wheel of the Worst? I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Yes. Wheel of the Worst 25.
Fun.
And episode something. I don't know. Episode 101 or whatever.
I'll have to, we'll have the time with it.
Yes. Thanks. Thanks.
Later. Bye.